Mark with U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. EnergyandValues.com.
Are you ready? Dan Fagan and Glen Biegel are here. They're gonna tear it up, rip it down, and shoot it straight. Fagan and Biegel in the morning on Hot Talk, KOAN, and now ENT. And now, Fagan and...
I'm going to cue you this morning. I'm tired of being cued. Everybody's telling me what to do all the time. I don't ever get to tell anybody what to do.
Aw.
You're on, Brian. You talk.
Good morning, Anchorage.
Oh, boy. Good morning to everybody. How are you, Bonnie and Glenn?
Doing well.
Brian, you're okay?
Excellent.
All right. Well, it's good to be here. Good to be here on, where am I, by the way?
KOAN,
KVNT.
KVNT.
1080 online, KON.com.
You know, it's so funny. I had some problems with my computer today, so I reset my Safari browser. Don't ever reset your Safari.
All your passwords gone.
It's like I'm a stranger to my computer.
Yep.
Like now, right now, Brian, I'm getting a message that says set allow for both Google Talk plugins in order to access the video.
Yes. Just click yes or allow.
Well, it says see detailed instructions.
Oh, you can't just hit allow?
No, it never that easy.
See, the funny thing is, Bonnie, he was complaining about my cat video yesterday.
No, I was not complaining about
Listen
it. It
to
wasn't
someone
yesterday.
discuss their Google problems. I mean, how many people do you think just turned the channel for that?
You realize that 100% of what just came out of your mouth was inaccurate.
You know, I had to go back and watch that cat video, and then I had it in my mind all weekend long.
Me too.
Thanks, Glenn.
Dang it.
Yeah, you know we got flagged for that on YouTube.
Like that.
Really?
Yeah, they have these copyright. Like if I play too much of a regular song, like I usually loop all these, it'll recognize the song in the video and then tell me that it won't allow it to play it in some countries.
Am I going to jail, Brian?
No.
No, I think we're okay. That's all. They just won't allow it to play like in
So what
China.
did they say?
That's all it says. It still shows on the video, though. So.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
I'm gonna. If they come to get me, I'm gonna say it was your idea.
I think
it was Glenn's idea.
It's banned in China and North Korea, probably.
They're smart.
They are smart. In their heads is not running around the I Love Cats video.
And then I watched the real one,
Oh, my gosh.
and
For those who don't know,
I think I bought it too.
for those who weren't up with us Friday morning,
She was
Glenn brought in this cat video that it may very well be funny. I've never seen it. Audio-wise, there was nothing to it. It was just some woman singing about a cat.
Oh, come on, Dan. You didn't
Yeah,
have
but
that
see,
little
you guys-
tune in your head all
No,
weekend long?
See, if you guys didn't see it, I promise you, it would be very different.
That might be true.
Yeah.
I was laughing at your reaction to
Yeah.
it. It
And
was
that's what my
hilarious,
wife
which
thought
was
was funny
no
as well.
reaction.
And then the harassment for me
Yes,
afterwards. Yeah,
yes.
my wife really enjoyed that.
I'll bet. I might have to start laughing again, just thinking about it.
So, well, we got a lot to talk about today. I guess you guys heard about the anchor on Channel 11 last night, right?
I
Yeah.
saw that first thing this morning.
Yeah. Did you hear about it, Brian?
What's up with that?
Well, there was a gal who was, what's her name? Chora Chumpa Chupa?
Charlo
something
Green.
Yeah, something like that.
But that's
She-
not a real name.
Oh, it's not?
No,
How do you know?
because that's what the story said.
Because she has a real cat video that she gave her real name in.
So she was doing a story on pot, and it turns out she owns, what's the name of the group?
Alaska Cannabis Institute.
Right. Now, first of all, what kind of news director lets the reporter who owns an organization about pot report on pot? So that's the first question for the management at Channel 11. How did you let a journalist get in there and advocate for a cause that was very dear and near to her heart?
Yeah. She had
That's the very
financial
first
interest
question.
in it.
Well,
She's a little biased.
yeah, I mean, you can't report. You know, if I'm
A board member of Planned Parenthood.
yeah, and I go report on abortion, I mean, you got to have some kind of. So anyway, so that's the first question, and then of course she gets on there and says "F it," you know, with the F word. Said, you know, yeah. Oh, you Brian's like shocked. Yeah, she says, well, I wish we could play it. I should have edited it and bleeped out the F word, but basically what she says is what and some of you may not know, but I own Alaska Cannabis Institute, and as far I will now be dedicating my full time. This is paraphrased to advancing for the cause of freedom of smoking pot, and it asks for this job. Not that I have any choice. And then she goes, F it. And then she just
I
walks
quit.
off the set.
And she walks
says,
off.
I quit.
Yeah.
So it was live.
Live. Oh, yeah.
Okay, she was the anchor.
Yeah. Well, she was a reporter on the green shot.
The anchor
Oh,
was
wow.
like,
Yeah.
Wow, that's probably on YouTube, huh?
Oh, I'm sure it's already gone viral. Yeah.
Right.
So,
The reporter, the anchor's reaction was the best.
yeah. Yeah. Let's go to
We'll
a
be back.
break. And then she realizes she still got words in front of her. And then 3 people today were shot,
I really don't think it's funny. I don't know why I'm laughing.
Oh, I think it's funny. You don't think it's funny?
I just think it shows character. These are the people we're going to be dealing with. They obviously they feel that strongly about their issue, but I feel equally strongly.
You do.
I do.
So if we take a position for Pot, are you going to say F it and walk off the set?
No.
Okay.
No.
I have a delay button.
Oh.
What do you think of all this, Glenn?
Well, it's a movement, almost as strong as the ones that were going on, the sexual movement, the anti-government movement, the anti-authoritarian movement. So, these kinds of things, and it's very generational. This is the young person's against prohibition stand. And so very broad, very widespread. I'm still not convinced that having widespread legal pot in a society is good for it. It sounds like it's caused more deaths in Colorado. I really hope that people wait this time. We get some more details about what has gone on in other parts of the country and find out more about it. Now, about Channel 11 and the reporter, it really seems this is a management problem over there, isn't it?
I've never seen anything like this that's come from them. I've not seen them allow people on who own. No, I've not seen.
Now, what would have been an
track record
equivalent situation for you? I don't know that you were as conservative when you were on the air, but I mean, it seems like she has financial interests in the story.
I don't know that she gets.
She's
paid.
an advocate.
Yeah, she's an advocate.
So,
Yeah.
but I mean, what would have been the same thing for you? Do you have any?
No, I don't, as a reporter, I would have never been able to be an advocate for a cause as a reporter. You just don't do that.
Yeah. Well, to me, this happens more and more. I mean, you think about the writing, the Pebble Review with Greenpeace right there.
Yeah, but that's not journalism.
I know, but then you had left-wing reporters reporting that. Well, this is what happened, and they never reported that Greenpeace.
Well, reporters are left-wing bent because that's what they're trained to do in college.
So is this a big story because a conservative? I mean, libertarianism is at the end of the conservative scale, and so I would.
Well,
say,
it would be like if I were to get up there on one of my reports on Channel 2, and I'm doing a story about an abortion clinic, and I were to say at the end of it, it's time we stop murdering all these babies.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the equivalent.
Okay.
Because and then they came to find out that I had started a Right to Life organization that I wanted people to support. That would be the equivalent.
Okay.
But you can't do that.
And that wouldn't happen. You would be fired immediately.
Well, yeah, they would have never gotten that far.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
big story.
She could have kept it. I went on her Facebook last night, and she's got tons of pictures of her smoking pot in pot fields. Yeah. So how they didn't know this? That's the question for Channel 11.
Okay.
Channel 11 is the one who really needs to be accountable here. 614, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. 614, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
Is your IT department burdened with first-line support calls about printer jams and broken printers? Are individual departments purchasing expensive printer cartridges that get buried in office supply budgets? Is your printer support strategy really a printer replacement plan? Let Alaska Enterprise Solutions show you how to reduce those high print costs. AES is a Xerox professional agency in Alaska with Xerox's worldwide support behind them. You can reach us at aesalaska.com or 561-5100.
Mark Begich has voted with Barack Obama 97% of the time. Now, to distract you from the truth, Begich is falsely attacking Dan Sullivan with ads fact-checkers have called inflammatory and inaccurate. Shamefully, Begich has even resorted to attacking Dan Sullivan's service to our country. Mark Begich isn't true Alaska. He's pure Washington.
I'm Julie Fate Sullivan. After 9/11, my family left our home in Alaska so my husband, Dan Sullivan, could defend our country, first in the White House under Condoleezza Rice, then deploying overseas as a U.S. Marine. Now Mark Begich is attacking Dan for that service. As somebody whose family has been in Alaska for thousands of years, I have a message for Mark Begich. Alaska, we don't attack it.
I'm Dan Sullivan. I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
You know, there are many people in Anchorage who have their own special place for gifts for occasions like Mother's Day or birthdays, anniversaries, whatever. Into Bell's Nursery and Gifts they go. And there's always something perfect. Bell's Gift Shop on Specking Road has a truly incredible selection of unique, creative gift ideas. Crystal, glass, and china and flatware. A wonderful kitchen section. Candles, lotions and potions, and of course delicious C's candies and lots more. Great for browsing or finding that special gift. The Gift Shop at Bell's Nursery on Specking Road.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
Yeah. 6:17 in the morning, Monday, September 22nd. Welcome to the Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron Show on KOAN, KVNT. How's everybody doing this morning?
Ready for the week.
Ready for battle. Amanda Coyne had an amazing set of stories in her on her blog across the weekend, just sort of summarizing where we are politically. And I really I hope people go out to her blog, take a look at it. She has highlighted our program as well today that we're going to have Brad Keithley on. And I stopped having him on a while ago on my program. I always thought that what he had to say about issues was really, really important. And so I had him on several times, but then I stopped having him on because I got reports that there was something strange going on. I some reason not to have him on. So I didn't anymore. And but he'll be on. So this will be the first time that we've sort of looked across the table at each other for a while. And I'm looking forward to it. He's heavily involved here in politics. He's going to spend $200,000 to try and unelect 2 Republicans and elect 1 other Republican and 1 independent, or I think maybe she's Libertarian. And I'm really looking forward to finding out why he's doing that, how he's doing that, and then I'm sure we'll get into what Gabrielle Ledoux had to say. She was on the program on Friday, and what was the quote that I think you used this on your blog on danfagan.us?
Narcissistic thug.
Yeah. A narcissistic thug. So anyway, so I'm sure we'll mix that all around, and should be a pretty big show. He's on at 7:30.
I'm not sure. Yeah. 569-1080. 569-1080. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Love to hear from you this morning. Big story, of course, that everybody's kind of focusing on is this anchor last night on Channel 11. What's her name, Bonnie?
Charlotte Green is her screen name.
So what the story said that's not her real name, huh?
Yeah.
Did Amanda report that? Because I didn't read that in the Daily News.
The reporter known professionally as Charlotte Green.
What are you reading?
It's the KTVA. I think it's KTUU.
Oh, okay.
Story on it.
They got to be loving it.
So is Green? That's funny because obviously that might be an homage to marijuana.
It could be. It could be.
Oh my goodness!
Hey, you never know. Why not? If you're gonna change your name, I guarantee if I was gonna change my name, one of the names would be Stud,
and the other one Muffin.
Muffin.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We'd call you Muffin.
Yeah, we definitely would. We definitely would enhance that.
Her name is Charlene
Energy toward fighting for freedom and fairness, which begins with legalizing marijuana here in Alaska. And as for this job, well, not that I have a choice, but fuck it, I quit.
This is KTUU now.
Yes.
See, to me, that's the thing.
Oh, so it's not Alaska Cannabis Institute. It's
Right, we apologize for that. We'll be right back. Pardon for us. Meanwhile,
legalizing pot, that she had formed an organization to do so, and if they knew it, when did they know it, and why would they let her report on the issue when she was an advocate? My guess is they didn't know any of it. If they did, whoever knew should be fired instantaneously. Because look, in journalism, there's always going to be bias. There's always going to be reporting that's not fair. But you can't let someone who's actively involved in one part of their life, pushing an agenda, also report on that agenda.
Yeah.
You just can't.
I guess it made the Dredge Report.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just watched it on YouTube.
And what did you think, Brian? Of the, I should have edited it at home. I can't edit it here.
Yeah,
Actually,
it was priceless. I'll try to find an edited version.
Actually, I can't edit it here. I may edit it during the break. What did you think of it, Brian, when you saw it?
It was priceless. If she's on Drudge, I mean,
drugs?
She's about to become very well
known.
She's on drugs?
Dredge. The Dredge Report. Well, that too.
What were you going to say, Bonnie?
Well, I just wonder how many people she's going to get to move up here before the election deadline to vote.
Well, they won't be able to register in time, will they?
Oh, yeah. I think it's
still
just
register?
30 days before.
Yeah, I think we're running out of time, but you still can.
Oh, sure. How many people fly up here and register to vote real quick? And
is that right? You can do that?
I think it's 30 days, yeah.
The actual owner of the Alaska Cannabis Club will be dedicating all of my energy toward fighting for freedom and fairness, which begins with legalizing marijuana here in Alaska. And as for this job, well, not that I have a choice, but fuck it, I quit.
I mean, if I'm wrong, please let us know, but I'm...
Well, I guess it sounds right. I guess it's not like the permanent fund. We have to live here a year.
No. Full calendar year. No bitterness. No bitterness here.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what to make of this. I'm assuming... I know Channel 11 issued a press release last night apologizing and saying that Ms. Green was terminated.
Yeah, after she quit.
Well,
she was terminated
true.
after she quit. You're fired after you quit, by the way.
And the news director was unavailable for comment, so clearly he's got the answer. Let's see, what's this guy's name? They had his name down here. I never heard of him. I don't know any of those people over there. Yeah, that's one good thing about 11. Since none of those people are from here and know any of the players and know any of the issues, it's more difficult for them to be biased.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, because I found that anytime, and I worked as a reporter in different cities, the longer I was there, the more I knew the issues, the more I knew the players, the easier it was for me to be biased.
Mm-hmm.
And, there was a while there when Channel 2, when they had some of those reporters that were there forever, Channel 2 was the bastion of leftism. I don't find it as left as anymore because most of the reporters at Channel 2 haven't been there very long, which is a good thing for our city and our state because you don't want people in there who are hardcore leftists getting in there reporting their agenda. And I remember when I was there, there were 3 or 4 of them that were just ridiculously left.
Is that because once you know somebody, it just makes it easier to write the story because you already have
you form
sort of
alliances.
inside track.
You form alliances. Les Guerra, who's on our show today, Hollis French, Harry Crawford, all these guys cozy up to the media. And the Republicans, frankly, sometimes are paranoid.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, like when I covered Juneau, the only people who were lawmakers who would come up to me and talk to me like I was a person were the Democrats. Republicans would never come near me.
And you think
they just assumed
wrong?
Well, it's bad strategy.
Right.
Because they just assumed I'm a reporter, I must be a left winger, which I wasn't.
Yeah, but then you get Richard Maurer, who went off went after the Alaska Policy Forum. I think he interviewed them for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And trying to pry into this and pry into that and trying to discredit.
Yeah, no, it's
so how do you judge that?
Well, it is true that most reporters think Republicans are evil.
Yeah.
And you're the target if you're a Republican. And most Republicans have learned that through the years. So you keep an arm's distance. All I'm saying is try to look past that. Still try to begin a relationship with them. And, even though they may be opposed to you ideologically, they are people, these reporters. And if you're friendly to them and you're nice to them and you reach out to them, then, I think, and who was really good at that? And he was Speaker of the House when I was there. No, actually, Pete Cott was Speaker of the House. He was Rules Chair, was John Harris. Harris used to reach out to me a lot. He was a Republican.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was very wise, and he knew what he wanted to say, and he knew how not to get himself into trouble. And I just think that a lot of Republicans should go through about a year, maybe 2 and maybe 3 of media training. Here's how you say what you want to say, and these are the reporters who are going to be fair to you. Here are the people who are trying to headhunt. I don't know. I mean, maybe that would help the situation.
Well, you don't want to increase the paranoia. One time I was in the Capitol hallway doing a live shot for Channel 2 at 6 o'clock, and I'm standing there, and this shot like knees to the top of my head, and John Harris was walking behind me, and he, boom, right on the butt.
Oh, no.
While on live TV. It was a classic.
Did you guys play football together or anything like that? Because that's totally illegal. Basketball.
But that was the kind of relationship we had. We he reached out to me, so we had formed a relationship.
Literally reached out.
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but that's good for lawmakers. There's some of them. Like there was some kind of pro something rally. It was a pro America rally they had at the front of the Capitol. And there was some big hearing going on I had to catch. And, you as a reporter, you only have so much time in a day. And I sent my photographer down there for like 10 minutes and just spray it, which means just get 4 or 5 shots. And then I was going to write a little 25-second blurb on it. Well, one of the staffers for Nancy Dahlstrom saw me in the hallway. She said, I saw you weren't at the Pro-America rally. No surprise there. I know you guys at Channel 2 don't like America.
Oh.
But that was just that, that really? I'm in the media.
Come on.
Us versus them. Yeah.
I must be a left winger.
Aw.
I know.
You're like, no,
and
really,
I did,
love
to play it
America.
out.
What do you say?
Well, I did say. I said, yeah, I've never loved America. I can't stand the country. I enjoy Cuba.
Perfect.
And she said, I knew it. I said, yeah, well, you got me. Don't tell anybody.
So the big marijuana, big mistake, vote no on 2 Facebook page that I'm proudly a part of, says KTVA's Charlotte Green had been extremely rude to our volunteers and representatives from other agencies that also oppose ballot measure 2 from the start. Now we know why. So it doesn't sound like this is the first time she showed her true colors.
Did Channel 11 know, and when did they know it? That's the question. How could they have possibly had a woman who was such a strong advocate, who owned and started an organization, reporting for them on this issue? I'm assuming there's a good answer. And the only one, of course, is we had no idea. We need to get this Charlotte Green. Of course, we'll have to have the delay button ready. So we need to get her and have her on the show and find out what her bosses knew and when they knew it, as far as her relationship with the Alaska Cannabis Club.
Yeah, that would be good.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
569-1080, 569-1080. That's the number if you'd like to be a part of the broadcast. 6:28 is the time. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Anchorage police have identified the victim of a deadly hit and run over the weekend on East 5th Avenue. Police say 54-year-old Guy Mercier was trying to cross the road in front of the Holiday store at about 2 a.m. on Saturday when he was struck and killed by a car that allegedly fled the scene. Police later arrested 22-year-old Pao Yang for OUI, leaving the scene, and manslaughter. Anchorage police say a 17-year-old girl was shot at a house party near O'Brien Street this weekend after
Investigators say a dispute broke out when a large number of uninvited guests showed up. The victim was hospitalized.
That is good.
To her lower back. Officials say it was not considered to be life-threatening. Finally, Anchorage area stores that sell smartphones reported a busy weekend as people lined up for the new iPhone 6. That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Mostly sunny for today, high 52. For tonight, clear skies, low 35. Tomorrow, clouds and sunshine, high 53. Tomorrow night, low 34. Wednesday, partial sunshine, high 51. Plenty of sun on Thursday, high 52. And Friday, high 52. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928 and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage.
You gotta play to win. Don't miss your chance. Alaska Lottery presents Monthly Lotto with a new drawing every month. Tickets are just $2 each or 10 for $10. The winner receives half of everything collected. Drawings will be held on the 30th of every month. Call the Alaska Lottery hotline at 56-LOTTO. That's 565-6886 for information and prize updates. Charitable gaming in Alaska raises millions of dollars every year for nonprofit organizations statewide. Get your tickets today at the new Tudor Bingo Center at 1436 East Tudor Road, Tudor Charity Tabs at 343 West Pinson, or the Alaska Lottery Kiosk on the first floor of the 5th Avenue Mall. You don't have to be present to win, but you gotta play to win. Brought to you by Greater Anchorage Inc., Ferrande, and Alaska Lottery.
Trail Boss Solutions is an Alaskan-owned, nationally recognized top 500 construction and remodel firm. From our handyman services to our award-winning kitchen design and remodel, Trail Boss Solutions is fully licensed, bonded, and insured, and has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion on time and on budget. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions direct at 646-1403.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Why is A&A The Shop Alaska's independent Subaru specialist? How is it they've been voted the best shop in Anchorage not once but 6 times? Well, it's pretty simple. For the best warranty in the business. If they work on your Subaru, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on both parts and labor. That's unheard of. A&A The Shop deals exclusively with Subarus, and they also offer $35 oil changes. All their technicians are ASE certified. Call A&A The Shop for an appointment. 562-3919 in Anchorage and 696-2096 in Eagle River. Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080 Kagan and Biegel. Weekday.
All right, welcome back. 6:35, big show for you today. We've got Bonnie's good friend, Les Guerra, coming up. You ever given money to Representative Guerra?
Let me think. No.
Also, Brad Keithley, who's in the heart of a big controversy involving the legislature and giving money to candidates. He'll be coming up. Our number 569-1080, 569-1080. There's Glen Biegel. He's right over there. Bonnie Cameron, she's sitting to my right, wearing white and purple. Is that purple?
Yes.
Why do women wear all that stuff around their neck? This seems heavy to me.
This one's very light. There are some heavy ones I wear, but I like scarves.
Mm-hmm. You can see the show if you want at danfagan.us. And I'm waiting for my internet gal to put up a logo that you can see real clear where we're going to go, but it's not up yet. So you can still find it, though. It's not that difficult to find. But go to danfagan.us. You can watch the show live. We're streaming. Yeah, I don't know what to make of this thing with this Channel 11 lady. I just think that Channel 11 needs to answer as to why they had somebody on there. It was a big deal, though. You know, when I was I taught journalism in college, and I was a journalist for many years. I'm not a journalist now. But I don't know that we talk enough as a culture about the media and what an important role they play. Although, fortunately, television news is playing less and less of a role.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people don't watch TV news much anymore. If you're over 40, pretty much you're the only people who watch TV news.
That's probably true. My parents are, rabid every night.
Yeah.
6 o'clock and 10 o'clock.
And how old are they?
Watching the news. 72.
Yeah, my parents the same way.
Yeah, translation over 65 when he says over 40.
Yeah, that's probably true. Well, I remember I had lunch with John Tracy about, 6-7 years ago. He told me he's very concerned about local TV news because as they track the demographics, every year they lose a whole, gobs and gobs of people because the newer generation is just not. I have not sat down to watch local TV news 7-8 years. Maybe I have once or twice in the last 7 or 8 years where it's 10 o'clock, let's watch the news.
Right.
It's 6 o'clock, let's watch the news. I just haven't, and I don't know. I've walked into like at Humpy's, they have Channel 2 on, and I'll see a reporter, and I say, I've never seen that reporter before. You could parade in front of me right now, the whole staff of 11 and 2. I wouldn't know any of them.
Right.
Well, the idea that you have to wait till 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock, in order to find out what the news is, A, B, and that is totally foreign. I couldn't even imagine anybody under, like you say, 40 even considering that to be the case. B, that these people have chosen, that the people who run these news organizations have chosen the right stories that you think is news too, because there's such dramatically broad interests. Some people are only interested in technology news. Some people are only interested in, the pot initiative. That you can tailor your news to such a dramatic extent now.
Stories you will not see on your local newscast in Anchorage. The breakdown of the criminal justice system and how it doesn't work. Government waste. People who take advantage of the welfare state. You'll never see these stories on the local stations.
It would be transformational if they did that, though. This is really a message to the media here that you're giving, that if they did a story about those once every quarter, well, you would transform the state because you would educate people dramatically.
I used to do them, and I'll tell you how I started doing them. I shouldn't be saying this on this broadcast, but I went to the day shift my last year at Channel 2. It was by far my most productive year as a journalist. I broke more major stories my last 12 months than all of my career combined. It was an incredible run.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just on fire. You know how I did it?
You listen to talk radio is what I heard.
Rick Rydell every morning.
Wow.
Somebody would call and say, I got this government bureaucrat who blah, blah, blah. Boom. That's my story today.
Mm-hmm.
I got more stories from talk radio.
Hmm.
Because it was stuff that no one else at Channel 2 was interested in covering.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up being the lead every night. You know, it was a day shift, which normally I was the lead at 10 every night because I was the only reporter on at 10. I was the only night shift. I was the first night shift reporter Channel 2 ever had. You know, I'd work from 2 to 10, and I'd be there every night live somewhere, usually standing in front of some building when it's 10 below.
With
your shorts on. With the building having no relevance to my story. Well, we just want you live. We need you live somewhere. How about my living room? But so that was really what I thought. I mean, I had a great year. It was so much fun. And but I got talk radio. And then I started realizing, you know, talk radio is where it's really happening. That's where the news is. Because people can call up and give you story ideas, and that's why I made the shift from news to talk radio.
Great idea, and well done.
Yeah, and I get so annoyed when the first story is just on the, well, for instance, like the LUSAC or, you know, the library or, you
my
know,
favorite.
I'm like,
my
they
favorite.
must not have any stories tonight, so click off.
My favorite. It's going to get down to 5 degrees. What are the homeless going to do?
Oh, all right.
I can't tell you how many homeless stories were pitched to me, and I would say it over and over and over again. People don't care. Sorry. We should care.
That's
but they
awful.
don't care. I mean, how many stories are you going to do about the homeless finding shelter?
Well, I don't even think that it's people don't care. We've done what we can for them. What exactly who are trying to commit suicide in public? Slowly. It takes years for them to eventually commit suicide.
Very true.
And they do it every single day.
Very true.
Going down that path, drinking themselves to death.
Right.
We have done what we can. You know, and so why wallow in something? We wish they would make a different choice. We give them opportunity after opportunity. We try to take them and force them to go into rehab. You can't force somebody into rehab. Yeah. I hate to tell you that. If they want to drink themselves to death and they want to look at life as not an opportunity, but a prison sentence that they want to get out of, what are you going to do? So why keep going through it? And they do it because and this is the mistake I think the media made many, many years ago, is they want people to feel helpless and like they're not doing anything, when in reality we're powerful and we are doing something. We're doing as much as we can do. So what they'll do is they'll find these tiny segments of society for which we can't reach, even through all the hope and all the prayer and all the effort and all the societal organizing itself to help these people. We can't help people who don't want to be helped. And so that's the part that they keep highlighting, rather than all the segments of society that we are doing so much for.
I think it's that the reporters are trained. Because like when Meister was mayor, I was a reporter at Channel 2. And this didn't happen, of course, when Biegel was mayor. But when Meister was mayor, the push at Channel 2 was, we need to make Meister appear heartless and not caring about the homeless.
Yeah.
And reporters are trained that the Republicans don't care about the homeless. They hate the homeless. You know, and so let's go out and make the Republicans look
And it's
bad.
a fun story for them. I think they get charged about it. They're like, we're making a difference. We're showing people what's really going on. And these awful Republicans and these doggone, and then the same homeless are there exactly in the same numbers or worse as Begich is there. And you know what? Not a story about it. And if they do cover it, they cover how we're trying to do something, how we're really trying to figure this one out. Yeah. It's very biased, which is another reason why so few people. Because I think the media, they just reported this on Drudge a couple of days ago. The media,
On Drudge
on Drudge
Report.
Report.
Oh, okay.
That, and he doesn't report anything; he just forwards stories. But the media's at its lowest belief rate of in history. It's never been this low.
Yeah, absolutely.
Losing credibility.
DanFagan.us if you want to watch the show live. Our phone number, 569-1080. Glen Biegel, Dan Fagan, Bonnie Cameron. Bonnie's got this big fancy scarf on. Go to DanFagan.us to see it. 644. Go to DanFagan.us to see it. 644.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
When Alaska hunters get their moose or caribou, deer or sheep, they face a number of choices. The smart ones bring their meat to Herb Ekman at Alaska Sausage.
We've been processing game for Alaskans since 1963. I am very proud of the products we make.
Alaska Sausage makes wonderful breakfast sausage, Polish sausage, summer sausage, and the old favorites, moose-a-roni and wieners, plus their famous hunter sticks, pepper sticks, or teriyaki sticks.
And each month we have some great specials like our classic pastrami. Our specials are always very popular. And a superior product starts with superior meat. That's why Alaska Sausage only accepts good, clean game meat that has been well cared for before it gets to us.
You know, there's a lot of hard work involved in bringing back your moose or caribou or sheep. A lot of hard work. So it only makes sense to take it where you'll get the best sausage and meat. Alaska Sausage, near the corner of Arctic and Benson. And our Valley customers can drop their clean, boneless meat at Smoked Alaska Seafoods, where Alaska Sausage will pick it up and complete your order.
Just tell them Herb sent you.
This is Dr. Ellenberg. Are you tired of taking medications? Your medications create more side effects than solutions. You want more than 15 minutes with your doctor? If you answer yes to those questions, you should consider calling the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine. At our center, we take the time to listen and focus on finding the cause of your health problems. Whether you have a cold, high blood pressure, diabetes, or cancer, we can help. Call the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine at 563-2366 or visit us online at drellenberg.com. We can help.
More than 700 quick lane tire and auto centers across this country, and she chooses mine.
I need tires all season and at a great price.
She wanted it all, but even she was surprised once I crunched the numbers. Soon her Taurus was ready to roll.
Say, you're good, Mr.
Murphy, ma'am, at your service, even on weekends.
With great prices on 13 name brand tires and no appointment necessary, Quick Lane is ready to serve. Visit quicklane.com.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.Fig. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley. K.
6:46 in the morning. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron on this beautiful Monday morning, September 22nd. Welcome to the broadcast. You play by the rules, you make the right decisions, you do what you think you're supposed to do, and then you run into the wall of retirement, and all of a sudden you find yourself in the position of having to go out and get a part-time job. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. Go see our good friend, Mike Daniels, Country Financial. He's got a huge team up here in Alaska, 13 different Country Financial locations in Alaska. And if you go see a country representative, they're going to put you on the right path to successful, worry-free retirement. They're going to ask you the right questions, and you'll be happy. You'll be happy because you'll have peace of mind as you head toward your latter years in life. Here's the number, Country Financial, Mike Daniels, 866-COUNTRY. 866-COUNTRY. Country is spelled
COUNTRY. I was going to go, give me a C.
I knew you were up to something because there was a delay.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Into full cheerleader mode there.
She was thinking, how can I be
bring
funny?
pom-poms one of these times, and that is going to be our most popular video ever.
569-1080. 569-1080 is the number here in the studio. If you'd like to be a part of the broadcast, Brad Keithley is coming up. He is an individual who's been in the news lately for injecting himself into the political process financially. He'll be here to take your calls.
$200,000 makes a big difference.
Also, Les Guerra, Bonnie's good friend, will be here in the studio with us.
I don't think I've ever actually even spoken with him before.
Really?
I definitely have probably written him.
Yeah.
What do you think the state would be like if Democrats ran the place versus Republicans?
California? We'd have...
They claim that they want to cut the budget. I don't know that they've been very specific about how. I kind of love to hear the story that the Democrats like to tell when they're out of power. It's one of the funnest fairy tales that I've ever heard of. Because that's basically what they say is Republicans are out wasting all this money. And, oh, by the way, I think almost every Democrat voted for the capital budget last time.
I think who was it? Sarah, I don't remember. There was one I think that didn't.
Yeah, there was
Is
one.
that the one that they're criticizing Sean Parnell over?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
that's interesting.
So it'll be fun. It'll be fun to hear what their vision for Alaska is. And
well, the Daily News back when it was a full-blown communist rag. It's not anymore, but it's it's certainly a left-wing
They're
paper.
testing the waters.
They're actually allowing some conservative thought in by some of their editorialists. It was like Lisa Demers, who's for Pebble. The fact that they printed her column shows, because they wouldn't. The former under Pat Doherty wouldn't.
Mm.
I mean, there was censorship.
Yeah.
The conservative thought not allowed. Paul Jenkins, that's it.
And she got a big column this week on Sunday
she wrote another one
about
again?
the pool up in Bethel.
Oh, did she
Yeah,
write
it was
another?
really good.
Oh, I didn't see that one. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, I lost my train of thought.
well, you're talking about how the Anchorage Daily News, now the Alaska Dispatch News, sort of they're moderating themselves. You look at Nat Hertz, you look at
That wasn't
Dingman.
my point. I don't remember my point. Oh, capital budgets. Yeah, the Daily News every year. Matt Zenzi, Larry Pursley, whatever left wingers they had over there would always come out and make a big deal out of capital budget. They hated capital budgets. Not word one about the operating budget. And the difference between the capital budget. Now, this is not always true, but most cases, capital budget builds infrastructure. Operating budget hires union employees.
Mm.
And that's why the left always hates capital budgets, because it's roads, it's bridges, it's highways, it's ports, it's things like this. Now, I know there are exceptions. There's obviously a lot of pork in the capital budget. But I would much rather see a capital budget than an operating budget grow. And the fact that Governor Parnell has cut the operating budget, 4 years in a row now? In my book, he gets straight A's. Now, I know the left, they don't like the capital budgets, and his capital budgets are big, but capital budgets are what brings prosperity. You've got to have infrastructure. That's what government's supposed to do. And I know you can go in and say, well, look at this and look at that. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand there's they carpet a baseball field or something, I understand that there are examples of excess in the capital budget. But I've never been a big anti-capital budget guy, and mainly because, look, anytime the left comes out and starts criticizing something, it's got to be right?
I haven't gotten all the way there.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I haven't gotten all the way there. But, I would think that the people who like big government, they would argue, well, the government needs to do all of these services. So we need less infrastructure and more services. And if Begich ever does come on the program, that's really one of the questions I want to ask him. And that is, tell me about the relationship of the government when they provide a welfare check. Is there anything bad that happens in that process? Because I would love for him to walk me through how he doesn't see 46 million people on food stamps and this massive environmental movement that's holding back our country and stopping millions of jobs offshore, in our forests, just all kinds of different places that they have to be stopped, and so that migrating people from work to welfare, giving them food stamps to make it so that they don't riot because they don't have a job. That there may be something negative there. I just want to hear his thoughts on it. I mean, my guess is he doesn't think anything negative happens. That this is just the way it is. This is what we have to do, and I still support the environmental movement. And then that's my guess as to what he'll say. But I'd like to hear him say it.
I watched a lot of TV this weekend because of football, and I will tell you, it is the single best political ad I've ever seen. With Mark Begich and his mother. Have you seen it?
No.
And his wife. Just a great ad. Just a killer ad. And, I see Dan Sullivan's ads. He's got some guy who's some famous snow machiner or X Games something, and he's criticizing Begich because he's riding a snow machine on a green wall. Mark Begich is a communist. He is an anti-Alaska communist at his core. I don't want to hear commercials about him riding a fake snowmobile. They got to pull it. This is Romney.
There's
all
so
over.
much there. Why don't they get at it?
There. The fact that he brought the EPA here, the fact that he brought Obamacare, the fact that Obamacare is going to cause rates to go up 35%. I want this meat. I don't want to hear stories about him riding a snow machine.
And who he would back when he gets back there.
The first thing he'll do is vote for Harry Reid,
That's right.
who said his greatest accomplishment was blocking Anwar. I want punches.
Right.
I don't want slaps.
Yeah.
I'm very concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, this ad with Mark Begich and his wife and his mother, have you seen it? Can you pull it up? It's just so cute, and they both come across so lighthearted, and Mark's at the end, and he's so likable, and it's, how can you vote against a guy like that? Listen to his mother and his wife talk about him. But he's a full-blown communist, and he's anti-development. He's anti-Alaskan. He wants his place to be a national park. Why else would he join that team if he didn't? Why else would he take all that money from Big Environment and Harry Reid and Chuck Schumer? He's a full-blown anti-development guy.
Do you think that Dan Sullivan's team is trying to get the youth vote by doing that?
Yes. It's ridiculous.
I mean, because when we were out there sign waving for Joe Miller, I look over and the sign waivers for Dan Sullivan are dancing all over the place. They've got their music up. I wish that my candidate wouldn't try so hard.
First of all, he's not your candidate. You're a woman scorned by him.
He is my
So
candidate
stop
now.
being his
I'm trying to
spokesman.
give him
I
good
just heard
pointers.
her say something new, Dan. Let me marinate in this.
She loathes the guy, and
I'm
now
trying to
she's
give
a
him
spokesman.
pointers.
You loathe the guy. Now you're pretending to be a spokesman.
No, I would like to see him win, and so anybody who I choose to give my vote to, I give my pointers to too.
Advice.
Very unusual for a woman.
I don't know.
Why?
It just seems desperate to me. What? What was
To
that?
change your mind?
I was waiting for a reaction on that.
Wow.
That took like 4
Hello.
seconds longer than I thought it would.
Hey, it's Monday. Give me a break.
Trying to figure out how offended she should be.
Yeah.
On behalf of her gender.
Obviously, I was joking.
I don't get much offended by Dan anymore.
Oh, really?
That's because I don't offend. I don't bring offense.
Okay.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how this turns out. Of course, they had a big thing out there in Bethel where, Begich is literally hiring hundreds of people and just planting them in the villages.
Yeah.
And so he'll get 100% of the vote in the villages. Because they'll, whatever they got to do to get the village vote out. They just had a big thing, how he hasn't been to Bethel yet, Sullivan. And Begich has got like a bunch of staff people in Bethel.
Well, of course. I mean, they asked him that at one of the debates. Have you ever visited Cake? I mean, come on. It was such a gotcha question. Yeah. And I'm sure Begich has been to Cake.
Yeah, and
Where
a
is
more
Cake?
fair question, by the way, would be what percent of Alaska have you visited by population? And then secondly, how many places off the road system have you gone to?
Right. Well, and Begich
and
has
what
had...
he'll say is, I visited 99.9% of the population of Alaska, and I've been off the road system to 100 different villages. I have never been to Cake.
This is do you have any idea, either one of you, how big a deal it would be if we elected Bill Walker or Mark Begich? How devastating it would be to the state. Either one of you have any clue on that? It's just
I have some clue. I know the Begich deal. I know that's going to be big. I'm still waiting to have Walker in here.
Oh, no.
Yes on one, Glenn.
I know. That is a huge
No
problem.
Talk about a man scorned. Your scornness of Parnell just pisses me off to no end. 6:58.
At the hospital, the focus is patient health. But as the administrator, my focus is patient information, medical histories, lab results, millions of documents printed, scanned, and accessed.
With intelligent EcoSys printers and powerful MFPs like the 45-page per minute Task Alpha 4551 CI, plus customized apps and services, Kyocera helps you manage the many documents that matter.
At a hospital, every document is important.
Learn more at kyoceradocumentsolutions.com/US.
Royal Business Systems has been a leading provider of high-quality business technology and services since 1990. Royal Business Systems provides HP, Okidata, and Kyocera printers and MFPs, and support recognized throughout the industry as best in class. Come to Royal Business Systems for the total document solution you need to succeed in a competitive marketplace. Don't call 1-800-WHO-CARES. Call Royal Business Systems at 563-4118. That's 563-4118. Or visit us at akcopy.net.
You're listening to Hot Talk, KOAN Anchorage, AM 1080, and retranslated on 95.1 FM on K236CG Anchorage.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. A new ISIS call to kill Americans and anyone else who joins our coalition out to defeat the terrorist army. Fox News Radio's Emily Wither live in our Middle East Bureau.
The latest warning from ISIS came from the group spokesman in this 41-minute audio statement posted online. He's calling on Muslims around the world to kill civilians whose countries take part in attacks against them. Abu Muhammad al-Adani also warns the coalition will not be able to defeat them and calls on people to stop their sons from joining rebels that the U.S. plans to train to fight them. Dave?
Emily, fearing ISIS, more Syrians are fleeing their country. Turkey says 130,000 refugees have crossed the border the past 4 days. 3 Afghan army soldiers not considered dangerous remain missing in Massachusetts, where they were training.
The Director of Public Affairs for Joint Base Cape Cod says that the visiting soldiers are not required to stay on base and are free to go out to shop and explore the Cape. Now, the 3 soldiers were last seen at Cape Cod Mall.
Jessica Reyes with Fox affiliate WFXT. The former U.S. Army soldier accused of jumping a fence and getting into the White House with a knife goes to court today. His breach has security tighter at the White House. Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern is live.
Extra barricades and uniformed Secret Service officers outside the White House fence on Pennsylvania Avenue. Law enforcement is reviewing security here after that Friday night breach when an Army veteran was able to scale the several feet high fence and sprint inside the White House. The first of its kind intrusion. Discussions include expanding checkpoints, even creating bag checks before visitors get to the White House, though a federal law enforcement source says nothing has been decided. Dave?
Jared, Apple sold a lot more new iPhones, over 10 million of the new iPhone 6 models in the first 3 days they were on sale, 1 million more than last year's iPhone 5 updates. We bought fewer houses in August. The National Association of Realtors says previously owned home sales fell nearly 2% last month. On Wall Street, the Dow's down 62. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Attention homeowners, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and I have some important information for you regarding the U.S. government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. We've told you about HARP in the past, and more than 3 million homeowners have already taken advantage of this money-saving program. But there are so many more of you who could be saving hundreds of dollars every month on your mortgage. And Quicken Loans is here to help you save your money. The home loan experts at Quicken Loans fully understand the HARP guidelines. If you weren't HARP eligible in the past, new guidelines could mean that now you are. Give us a call and we'll give you a Quicken Loans mortgage review. It's simple and easy. And for 4 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Call 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN. Or go to QuickenLoans.com for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance costs. For cost information, equal housing lender license in all 50 states. NMLS number 3330.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor. Call us right away. 24/7. It's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size, for just 20 cents. Now that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, any size, and get a second pizza for only 20 cents. Order online at sicilyspizza.com. Offer valid for pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime. Movie times, reviews, and more.
Get tickets, win stuff.
Lots of information to explore.
Great restaurants.
Now you'll know just where to go before and after every show. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Keithley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Keithley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Keithley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Keithley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Keithley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Alaska's Energy, America's Values, paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. EnergyandValues.com. Mark Begich is unbelievable.
Washington thinks it knows what's best for Alaska, and that's what I'm fighting against every day.
Fighting? Begich voted for all Obama's appointments, like Sally Jewell as Secretary of the Interior. Jewell immediately said no to exploration in Anwar and no to a King Cove road. Begich didn't fight Washington. He rolled over, like he rolled over for Obamacare. Now Begich is trying to duck and hide on Obamacare, on oil taxes, on cap and trade, on the IRS scandal, even on Anwar. How can you deliver Anwar, Mark, when Harry Reid says a Democrat-controlled Senate will never allow an Anwar vote? Alaskans can't trust a thing Begich says. It's time to replace Malarkey Mark with U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1028.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. 6 minutes past 7 o'clock. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. And we're happy to welcome to the studio Brad Keithley, who is, I think most people know who you are by now. Brad, how are you?
I'm doing great this morning, Dan. How are you?
I'm great. Good to see you. Oil and gas attorney.
Used to be.
Used to be retired. Now you work as a consultant.
I do.
You were one of the main spokespersons for the No on Prop 1 move.
I got accused of that.
You were at many of the debates.
I was.
Doing a very good job, and fortunately, the initiative went down.
Yep.
And we're happy about that. So now you've decided to get involved in the political process in a unique way, and you've gotten a lot of press about it. You've decided to take $200,000 of your own money and to support candidates who are opposing four incumbents currently. Is that correct?
No.
No.
No. So it's one open seat and
gotcha.
3 incumbents.
Okay. And the people that you are supporting and opposing are, real quickly?
I can't remember the House districts off the top of my head, but in the Lori Hummel, Gabrielle Ledoux race, I'm supporting Lori Hummel. In the Lance Pruitt, Matt Moore race, I'm supporting Matt Moore. In the Anand Dubé, Matt Clayman race, I'm supporting Anand Dubé. And in there's going to be one more.
I'm trying to think of the fourth one. What's the fourth one, Glenn? You know?
Let's see. Hummel, Moore, Dubé, CN Stevens.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How could I forget her? In the CN Stevens-Garantar race, I'm supporting CN Stevens.
Now, one of the people that you've targeted, if I can use that word, Gabrielle Ledoux, has come out very strongly saying that you have a reputation of being a bully of women. She also called you on this broadcast Friday a narcissistic thug. What do you say?
Well, Gabrielle can say whatever she wants to say. Here's what's going on. This campaign, my involvement is really an outgrowth of my blog, and I've talked a lot on the blog about fiscal issues and the need for fiscal responsibility in this state. And the blog goes so far. I write columns about it. People have complained, though, in the past about the blog that, you know, I'm doing a great job writing about it, but what am I doing to follow up on it? So this is really the next step beyond the blog. And I don't use the word targeted. Other people have used the word targeted, but I'm getting involved in campaigns where I believe candidates have talked a good game about being fiscal conservatives. Mostly campaigns where candidates have talked a good game about being fiscal conservatives, but they haven't walked that talk when they've got down to Juneau. They're saying one thing up here during the campaign, they're going down to Juneau and doing something else. And so I've, some people have used the word calling out people for doing that.
But I want to get to
that
in a minute.
I'll get there. I've started calling out people for doing that, for not walking their talk. And the Ledoux, Representative Ledoux is one of those that I believe has done that, and I have identified that race as when I'm going in. And I think what's going on here is Representative Ledoux not wanting to talk about the issues, not wanting to, sort of talk about her fiscal record, said, "Oh God, I can't talk about that. So look over there. George did something over there, and sort of look away from me for a while. Look at George." And that's what I think is going on in this situation.
So there's no merit to the accusations that you bullied women.
Well,
you treated women poorly.
You talked to her for however long you talked to her on Friday, and you couldn't get any substance out of her.
She
did
not offer any specifics. Now, Amanda Coyne, who wrote about this in her blog, here's what she writes in her blog, and I'm quoting: "As evidenced by the numerous conversations I've had with women who have known Keithley, the latter charge about this reputation appears to be true." Amanda Coyne backing up Ms. Ledoux here, saying that she talked to women who have expressed concern about your behavior toward them, not offering any specifics, though. What do you say to Ms. Coyne's accusation?
Well, I think Amanda said that she's talked to a lot of people who said a lot of things. I am confident that Amanda's talked to a lot of people in her life who have said a lot of things. But there's, again...
But she's calling Ms. Ledoux's accusations toward you, she says they appear to be true based on the men or the women she's talked to.
Well, no. What I think Amanda is saying, I'm sure people can read things and conclude different things. That's what lawyers do all the time. But I think what Amanda is saying is she's heard from others, certainly from others about these things. You can talk to her about it. But there's what is going on here is people are trying to, Representative Ledoux is trying to misdirect what is intended to be a conversation about her substantive positions, is trying to misdirect that by pointing, off in the distance somewhere and said, "Look over there, not at me." This conversation that I'm trying to have with her and the other candidates is about their positions on fiscal responsibility.
Would you acknowledge that there are apparently at least a handful of women out there who feel as though you've treated them very poorly?
I will acknowledge that Amanda wrote a column that said that she's had conversations with others.
But would you acknowledge that there are a handful of women out there who have expressed to people that you treated them poorly?
I don't know.
Well, you don't know.
You need to ask Amanda. I mean,
but these women, assuming that they exist, you would know that they existed. And I know that there's a blog that has some women who've gone on there and said some things about you. I'm not going to read all that, but you know this is there. You know these women that with you because they feel like you treated them poorly. You know they're there, right?
I know that there are things that Amanda says have that she's had conversations about. But Dan, you do recognize I'm not the candidate here.
No, but
right?
You've injected yourself into the public domain.
No, I've injected an issue into the public domain.
But by putting yourself out there, having a press release, letting people know what you're doing, injecting yourself into the political process, calling other politicians out, you've put yourself into the political arena.
I did that a long time ago when I started the blog. I mean, Glenn and I have had conversations over the years about this.
But by putting yourself out there, doesn't that put you also in a position we need to know about you and who you are, and because you're inserting yourself into the dialogue. So if there are a number of women who say that you've treated them very poorly, that's something that I think is relevant that people need to know. Don't you think that's an important thing to know?
No, I don't. I'm not the candidate. I'm not the running for office. I'm not the one who says I'm going to go down to Juneau and do X. I'm simply doing the same thing I've done with the blog. I'm simply saying here's a fiscal issue. It's probably the most important issue in the state.
Just so I'm clear, so you're not acknowledging that these women exist, even though you go to this website and you've responded to many of them yourself. You're not even acknowledging them they exist.
I'm acknowledging that during my life I've made enemies, I've made friends, I've made people who like me, I've made people who don't like me. Some people don't like me with a passion, some people like me with a passion, some people get upset with me, some people don't get upset with me. That's just life, and I've lived it, and you've lived it, and Glenn's lived it, and Bonnie's even lived it, and that's what happens in life.
Talking to Brad Keithley, we'll take calls for him. I'm going to answer some questions. 569-1080, 569-1080, times 714. 569-1080, 569-1080, times 714.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
This is Herb Ekman with Alaska Sausage. I have some news for you hunters. Our specials this year include our famous bratwurst, pastrami, Polish hot dog. Our specials are always very popular, and I believe you're really going to love these. We have been processing game meat for Alaskan hunters for over 45 years. We know superior products start with superior meat, and that's why we only accept clean game meat that's been well cared for before it gets to us. Our traditional old-world recipes turn your carefully prepared meat into superior products you will be happy to serve your family and friends.
Alaska Sausage, 2914 Arctic Boulevard. And for our Valley customers, there's no need to bring your game all the way to Anchorage. Now you can simply drop your clean, boneless meat at Smoked Alaska Seafoods in Wasilla, where Alaska Sausage will pick it up, complete your order, and bring it back to you.
Just tell them Herb sent you.
Hi, my name is Mike Ferris, President of Alaska Enterprise Solutions. We are the face of Xerox in Alaska. Xerox is a trendsetter, and AES Xerox is following in those footsteps. We are the document management experts, specializing in short-term rentals of copiers and scanners. We have offices in Anchorage and Fairbanks, and we are your Xerox professional agency with an Alaska focus and worldwide support. You can reach us at aesalaska.com or 561-5100.
There's a lot of so-called experts out there claiming to have the key to success in business for a price. Are you ready for real business advice you can trust without a fee? Then don't miss Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Advice from people in the know. Technology, finance, taxes, and more. Business people helping business people take their skills and services to the next level. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN, 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
Hot Talk, KOAN, man.
You're on with Fagan and 18. That's 563-4118. Or visit us at akcopy.net.
Fagan and Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley.
All right, welcome back to the Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron Show. 717. Brad Keithley is in the studio with us.
Brad, I'm trying to work through what it is that you're doing with the $200,000, and I do think this could make a big difference. It's certainly a change in the way that we sort of watch politics happen. Can you tell me how you came up with the decision to get into these races, and then what they have told you in order to get the support, or what it is that you were looking for to get the support of these four candidates?
Sure. So we got into I only have so much money. I mean, I give a lot of money in my life. I've probably given $250,000 to the University of Virginia, my old alma mater, and I've given some to University of Tulsa, my undergraduate school, and I've given money to United Way and various things over life. So I've given a lot of money in my life, and I decided that this is an issue in which I need to be involved. If there was a foundation, there's a foundation to stop world hunger. There's a foundation to do this and do that. If there was a foundation to get Alaska back on the fiscally responsible track, I'd give to the foundation. But there isn't, and this is an issue that I feel passionately about. I feel it affects the future of our kids, our grandkids, affects the future of resource development. And one that I need to be involved in, want to be involved in. So, as an outgrowth of the blog, I started looking at what are ways that we can do to affect the process. Because when you talk to legislators, what legislators say is, "Oh, I do this, but my constituents are against it." Fine, I'll take the blog to the constituents. I'll take the next step out and start talking to the constituents. So we looked for campaigns where we could move the needle. I wasn't interested in knocking somebody from 57% down to 53%. We looked for campaigns that were close, so we did some polling to identify campaigns that were close. We sent out questionnaires to campaigns asking them to respond to fiscal issues, a couple of fiscal issues.
I think we understand the problem. Just basically, what are you trying to accomplish here?
I'm trying to get a fiscally responsible Alaska government.
569-1080. Brad Keithley's here. Steve, you're on with Brad Keithley.
Hey, good morning, Dan.
Morning.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, really a question for you, Dan, relating to your
comments earlier. You were asking your guest about if he would acknowledge there's women out there that he's offended. And my question really is what does that have to do with anything, and where are you going with it? Because, it's like I offended my wife Saturday.
Yeah. No, it's a fair it's a fair question, Steve. And we debated it internally here. I've talked with Amanda Coyne about it, and our thought is that when you put yourself into the position of trying to affect a political opinion, you insert yourself into the public arena, and there are these accusations out there that seem to be pretty common. I've heard them before. Glen's heard them before. I've not personally talked to any of these women. Glen has talked to one of them, and we debated it. Is it relevant? Well, and Brad, we felt like because you put yourself out there, here I am. I'm using my money. Vote against these people because I'm supporting them. You have a litmus test. You have a questionnaire. Your credibility is as much to play with any of this as your money.
Now, Dan, you're wrong on one thing.
Okay.
I'm not suggesting that people vote because I take a position. I'm suggesting that people investigate the issue of fiscal responsibility and whether the candidates have walked the talk that they've made when they've been when they've been in the districts. So wait a second. My role is an educational role. My role is to raise these issues.
Right.
Same thing I'm doing on the blog.
But you're the one educated, so your credibility has this guy who's telling me that I should support this person. I need to know something about him. And if you have this widespread reputation of bullying women, then I think that's relevant to the discussion, and that's my only point. Now, what I am confused at is when you're supporting people who've expressed their yes vote on Prop 1, basically they believe we can tax the oil industry into oblivion. You've been one of the key players in trying to combat that and keep that down, and yet you're supporting people who've taken the complete opposite position on you on that.
Yep. So there's two separate issues here. One is the revenue side, and Prop 1 dealt with the revenue side. What's going to produce the most revenue for the state? And clearly SB 21, you look at all the analyses, SB 21 produces the greater long-term revenue for the state. That issue's done, over, we voted on it, it's passed. The next issue is what do we do about the spending side? And you've got to look at what people are doing on the spending side. And we need to identify candidates who are going to go down there and do the right thing.
But if they're going to tax the oil industry into oblivion, we're not going to have any money to spend.
The problem is if we don't do something about the spending side, everybody's going to tax the oil industry into oblivion again. Here's what happens. If we don't get the spending side under control in 5 years, we have a huge fiscal gap that opens up. We've spent through our savings. We have expectations and spending that's going on at this level. We have revenue that's going on at this level. And ICER has said what will happen is institution of a broad-based taxes and diversion of a portion of the permanent funding. Who's the first people we go to when we revenue in the state? We go to the oil industry. So we've got to deal with the spending side to get that under control, or we're walking ourselves right back into the same sort of tax situation. And frankly, Dan, it's been a Republican governor, and Republican supermajorities in both legislative houses that have been walking us right back into that problem.
I have a question because when I first started hearing about the story, I don't know you, I don't know the backstory or anything. I was not surprised by any of your donations
No, I'm a nonpartisan. I used to be a Democrat. I was a yellow dog Democrat, but there aren't any of those left anymore.
You're calling out people who are supposedly not fiscally conservative, but then you're going to try to get a Democrat elected? That doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, well, Bonnie, look at what's happened. In the last 2 years...
Democrats are not known for being fiscally conservative.
Well, Republicans in this state aren't acting
And I would agree with you that there are some people who are not near as conservative as I want them to be. But are you really... What are your intentions?
My intentions are to get a fiscally responsible Alaska government. And it's Republicans. In the last 2 years, we've had the two largest deficit budgets in the state's history. Let me say that again. Two largest deficit budgets in the state's history. That's under a Republican governor and Republican supermajorities in both houses. In 2010, the Wall Street Journal wrote an article about the Tom DeLay Republicans that got defeated, the House Republican leadership that got defeated in the 2006 election. And the Wall Street Journal, looking back on it, said, it's hard to be so fiscally irresponsible that Democrats look conservative by comparison, but the Tom DeLay Republicans managed to do that and lost in the 2006 election. What we have going on in this state is Republicans losing track of what fiscal conservatism really is.
I think that would go nationally too, and I would agree with you to some extent. But back to Steve's point, why are we even going on about your involvement with other women? It does matter where the money is coming from, because it shows character. And if I know that there's somebody who has a questionable character, I'm not going to want to take their money. I'm not going to want to go forward knowing that I'm being supported by someone that might have questionable character. And I think that's why what Dan was trying to get to is important.
I'm not asking people to vote for me. I'm asking people to look at the issue, to look at what the candidates have said on this issue, to look at what they've done when they've gotten down to Juneau on this issue, and to decide whether or not that's somebody they want to continue to send down there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a candidate.
How are you using that money? Are you going to be doing commercials or?
Yep. We're going to do mailers into the district. We're going to do web ads, and we're going to do radio. I've put together a campaign team to focus on this issue, and we're going to do this professionally and strategically.
I'm still confused. The Democrat-led coalition, of course, led to the most massive spending that we've ever seen in history. I would expect that if we elected a few more Democrats, that we would be back to a Democrat-led coalition. And I agree with you. There are a number of Republicans, Senator Stevens, Stedman, who are really Democrats, and they just run as Republicans because the place that they come for is more Republican in registration. Why would we not be getting back to a Democrat-led coalition and vast, massive additional spending if we just elected a few more Democrats?
Because I think there are Democrats who make a difference. If you look at Lori Hummel, who Representative Ledoux doesn't want anybody to talk about, obviously. But if you look at Lori Hummel, she's a different kind of Democrat.
She doesn't want union money. She wants smaller budgets, and she told us how. Well, I mean, what kind of different Democrat are we talking about here? Because they talk a good walk, but they're ridiculous.
I'm about to tell you what kind of different kind of Democrat. We're talking about a 30-year service member who retired as a colonel, a West Point graduate, just like Joe Miller, a West Point instructor at one point, someone who served in Afghanistan.
But does that mean that she's for smaller budgets? I mean, honestly, she's supported by Great Alaska Schools. She agreed that she wanted more spending in the education area, which is the second largest expenditure in the state. I really don't understand. I honestly don't.
If you look at her response to the questionnaire, this woman committed to go to sustainable budgets, which will require prioritization inside the budget.
Did it require?
But Dan, we're talking about a 30-year military veteran. We're talking about a retired colonel. We're talking about
But if she's for smaller government, why would she join the Democratic Party? They're for big government, Brad. You know it. Everybody knows it. They don't even hide it anymore. Oh, how can you support a Democrat and say I'm for smaller government? They're beholden to the unions.
Because there are Republicans out there and who are voting repeatedly for big government. If you look
agree, but not as bad as the Democrats.
Oh, that can't be. Dan, look at the last two budgets back to back. The two largest budgets in the state's history, draining over a third of the state's unrestricted savings in 2 short years. On this track, we run out of savings in 4 years. There isn't any more big spender than.
With all due respect, since the mid-'90s, I've been hearing on this track we run out of savings in 4 years. I've been hearing that my whole life in Alaska. It never happens. This gloom and doom stuff, I just don't buy it. Yeah, we need to be more responsible, but picking people who are worse than the people we have, I just don't see that as an answer.
I haven't picked people who are worse than the people we have. I strategically went in and picked people who are better than the people we have, who are going to go down there and do the right thing. And Dan, on the point of, you've heard this, yeah, you've heard it, but do you know what, and oil prices have always saved us. Do you know what oil prices have to go to in order to balance this budget in the next 4 years? $180 a barrel by 2017. That's where we have to go. It's not going to happen, Dan. We have to reduce spending.
Brad Keithley, thanks for coming in so early.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Bonnie,
7:29.
Glenn, good to be here.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in so early.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Bonnie,
7:29.
Glenn, good to be here.
Thank you.
And now, the Fox News Business Report.
National Association of Realtors said sales fell 1.8% in August to a seasonally adjusted rate of just over $5 million. That breaks 4 straight months of gains. Shares of home building companies like Lennar and Toll Brothers are down on the news. Apple says it sold more than 10 million iPhone 6 and 6 Plus devices, a record in the 3 days since the phones went on sale. CEO Tim Cook says demand for the devices has exceeded the company's expectations. And shares of Sigma Aldrich are soaring today. German drug and chemical maker Merck has agreed to acquire the company for $17 billion in cash to boost its life sciences business. And Dresser Rand Group is rallying. Siemens is buying the oil field equipment maker for $7.6 billion or $83 a share in cash. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jolene Kent.
At Mathnasium Learning Centers, we make math make sense. Your child will leap ahead, whether they start out way behind or already ahead. It's how we've grown to more than 500 franchise locations. More at mathnasium.com or call for a free parent pack, 855-901-MATH. That's 855-901-6284. Learn what Mathnasium can do for your child. 855-901-6284. Mathnasium. We make math make sense.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Local police have released the name of a man who died shortly after a brief chase with officers in Wasilla last Thursday.
Police say 54-year-old James Bain of Anchorage took off from a construction site in a truck, which was reported as suspicious and later turned out to be stolen, and crashed on Spruce Road. He died at the scene. Court documents indicated a prolific criminal history. The truck was for sale at Master Auto Repair when it was stolen. It was totaled during the crash.
Alaska's unemployment rate has now hit its highest level since October 20. Newly released figures from the State Labor Department indicate the jobless rate rose to 6.8% for August. Nationally, it's down to 6.1%. Finally, Anchorage area stores that sell smartphones reported a busy weekend as people lined up for the new iPhone 6. That's your Hot Talk News update.
Mostly sunny for today, high 52. For tonight, clear skies, low 35. Tomorrow, clouds and sunshine, high 53. Tomorrow night, low 34. Wednesday, partial sunshine, high 50. On 32. And Friday, high 52. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
You gotta play to win. Don't miss your chance. Alaska Lottery presents Monthly Lotto with a new drawing every month. Tickets are just $2 each or 10 for $10. The winner receives half of everything collected. Drawings will be held on the 30th of every month. Call the Alaska Lottery hotline at 56-LOTTO. That's 565-6886 for information and prize updates. Charitable gaming in Alaska raises millions of dollars every year for nonprofit organizations statewide. Get your tickets today at the new Tudor Bingo Center at 1436 East Tudor Road, Tudor Charity Tabs at 343 West Benson, or the Alaska Lottery kiosk on the first floor of the 5th Avenue Mall. You don't have to be present to win, but you gotta play to win. Brought to you by Greater Anchorage, Ferrande, and Alaska Lottery.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything, from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. One way.
What if buying your next car could actually be enjoyable? At Payless Car Sales, we believe it should be. If you're in the market for your next car, come by and meet our knowledgeable staff and explore our selection of quality vehicles. We offer military discounts, and we give all of our customers Carfax history reports. We can also provide warranties and handle all of your lending needs. Just like driving your car should be enjoyable, so should buying it. Visit us downtown at 919 East 5th Avenue or on our website at paylesssales.com. Payless Car Sales, where Alaskans drive.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN. Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The talk of the...
$7:35 in the morning. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. Our good friend Keith Montanuk, Specialty Truck and Auto. He's a mechanic you can trust. Keith's been in business a long time. He's worked on several of my vehicles, always treated me right, always treated me fairly. Very quick service, too. Great team over at Specialty Truck and Auto. They're very knowledgeable and up on the latest technology. You know, today, working on cars is more like working on computers, and you have to have the latest training, and that's what Keith Montanuk does with his team. They're always up on the very latest. He's a great man, too. He's a great guy. One of my favorite people on the planet. As trustworthy, maybe other than Glen Biegel. I don't know if there's anyone on the planet that I would trust more than Keith Montanuk.
You don't want to trust me on your car, though.
No, once you touch my car.
You don't want nothing to do with my... No, that ain't going to work.
And you don't trust me at all.
I don't trust you as far as I can throw you. Keith Montanuk, Specialty Truck and Auto, 349-1637. 349-1637, located across the street from the Long Branch Saloon off of Abbott. 349-1637. Actually, I do trust you on all matters not involving Joe Miller.
I thought that was so funny when he looked at me and he said Joe Miller.
Yeah. If it's
like
involving
Joe Miller.
If it's involving Joe Miller, you're not very trustworthy.
Oh, I love Joe. He's great.
I'm aware of that.
I love his
We're
family,
aware of
too.
your feelings towards Joe and Kathleen. And
Quality
so
people.
we had Mr. Keithley on. You know, Glenn and I were talking about this during, and I just love that Glen Biegel is in my life because he is such a rock solid dude. His integrity, his judgment, his wisdom. He's not perfect, but he's pretty darn close. Because I've known a lot of guys in my life. I'm 54. I've had a lot of friends. And no disrespect to all my other friends, but the guy's just so rock solid.
Glenn.
And I so rely on his.
I don't feel like that at all, by the way.
I so rely on his
rock,
on his integrity, because I think all three of us want to do the right thing. We don't always. I do the right thing less than both of you, but I don't want to go after Mr. Keithley on these. What clearly there has to be something to the story that he treats women poorly, because there are several of them out there who have brought forward these accusations, and Amanda Coyne's talked to several of them. Glenn talked to one of them, and so I know that they exist. The problem is, do we bring it up? And I say, this is my thought, because Mr. Keithley, put out a press release, injected himself into the political process. Basically, what he's saying to Alaskans is, I think you should vote against these candidates, and I'm gonna put my money in there to defeat them. Well, if you're telling us that and you're asking us that, we need to know something about you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Yes, absolutely.
Glenn? Yeah. And I got a very serious point here for the Anchorage Daily News, who essentially said these women don't exist. We don't care about them. We're not going to research them. We're not going to find out anything. Somebody else has to come out with this information before. So they totally denied that they were going to do anything about this. If a Republican had come out against Democrats and inserted themselves into the public process, I promise you with every ounce of my being that they would spend every single waking minute finding out everything. They'd have these women with their names in a darkened room so you couldn't see their faces, talking explicit facts about exactly
the donor
what
would be
went
raked
on.
across the coals. Absolutely.
And I promise you that would be the case. Now, I don't necessarily approach it that same way, but I'm just saying, you look at the double standards so amazingly, brilliantly before our eyes.
I don't disagree with any of that. But at some point, it's incumbent upon the women I think, to come forward.
Yes, but you asked him if there was any merit, and he basically said those women have no merit.
Well, he
they don't matter.
He was even worse than that, Bonnie. He denied their existence.
Right. They have no matter.
And I know he knows they exist because when I invited him on the show several months ago, and I said, would you come on the show? And he said to me, no, I'll never go on a show with Glen Biegel because Glen Biegel believed a woman who said bad things about me. Now, what happened was Glenn talked to one of the women, and she told Glenn some really bad stories about the behavior Brad was involved in. Glenn, being rock solid in integrity, and probably never gossiped a day in his life, he didn't even tell me what the activity was, so I don't know what it is. But I know that Brad knows it exists because he acknowledged to me that at least this one woman exists. So, instance, I thought was disingenuous. And that's all I was asking him. I wasn't saying, is it true that these women are what they're saying is true? Do they even exist? And there's a website in which he goes and argues with these women, and he names their names on the website. So he's battled with these women in a public arena on the website. So for him not to even acknowledge their existence, to me, shows that clearly he's not being very
well, honest. And he talked about Gabrielle Ledoux saying, look over here, but he's doing the same thing. Exactly.
569-1080, 569-1080. Tom, you're on.
Good morning.
Morning.
It's amazing to me that somebody like Brad Keithley would spend $200,000 of his money because he thinks he's that important, and he and then he hires Casey Reynolds to be his research guy. If you want to campaign or give a campaign contribution, go do it. But to make yourself the story rather than the candidate that you might be supporting is just disingenuous. I don't think that Brad Keithley has any credibility at all in the way that he comes across. If he wants to be the candidate, run. If he thinks he's that smart, then he needs to start an organization to get that message out. But to buy his way onto the air with a couple $100,000 is just being disingenuous. He's just an ideologue, and I've heard the stories from the women too.
Personally?
Personally,
you have,
and and not from one, but from various. And I don't know why they seek me out. Probably, I go to the campaign fundraisers, things like that. But and it wasn't. I didn't ask for the information.
Right.
I was given the information, and there will be a day of reckoning for Mr. Keithley.
Well, what he's doing,
what I think.
It makes no sense, Tom, because look, if you think Lance Pruitt's opponent is going to be more fiscally conservative, what this really is, Keithley, like the Daily News and like most leftists, they don't like capital budgets. They want big operating budgets. Because I think the governor's done a pretty good job of controlling the operating budget.
He has. And the capital budget, most people don't know that we've passed some huge capital budgets, but a lot of that money has not been spent yet.
Yes.
And if push comes to shove, we don't have to spend it.
Yep. Right.
There's $7 billion that hasn't been spent yet.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of money in various state accounts, somewhere north of $80 billion. We're in great shape, and with the new tax laws that have been put in place, House Bill 21, it's just going to get better in the future.
Right.
And of course, like you, I've been here a long time.
Yeah.
When I got here in 1970, there was 300,000 people in the state.
Yeah.
And there was no money, absolutely none. And look at us today, just 40 years later.
Tom, unfortunately, we're up against the break. I appreciate your call. Thank you. Frank, you're up next. We got to take a quick break, but we'll be back with Frank. 569-1080, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. 569-1080.
on with Fagan and Biegel.
Medications. Your medications create more side effects than... cause of your health problems. Whether you have a cold, high blood pressure, diabetes, or cancer, we can help. Call the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine at 563-2366 or visit us online at drellenberg.com. We can help.
Mark Begich has voted with Barack Obama 97% of the time. Now, to distract you from the truth, Begich is falsely attacking Dan Sullivan with ads fact-checkers have called inflammatory and inaccurate. Shamefully, Begich has even resorted to attacking Dan Sullivan's service to our country. Mark Begich isn't true Alaska. He's pure Washington.
I'm Julie Fate Sullivan. After 9/11, my family left our home in Alaska so my husband, Dan Sullivan, could defend our country, first in the White House under Condoleezza Rice, then deploying overseas as a U.S. Marine. Now Mark Begich is attacking Dan for that service. As somebody whose family has been in Alaska for thousands of years, I have a message for Mark Begich. Alaskans respect military service. We don't attack it.
I'm Dan Sullivan. I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I plant fire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm going to let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080.
Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
747, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. My dad used to always say to me when I was a kid, when I'd start complaining about something, he says, hey, you got a roof over your head, right? And he was right. My dad always provided a roof and really a lot more. He was a great father. But you got to have a roof, and if you're going to get a roof, you might as well go to Earhart Roofing because they're the very best in Alaska. Frank and Becky Earhart, their son James, they've been in business 4 decades plus. They started with nothing. They now have 17 trucks, 60 employees. It is the American dream personified. Family business, they do industrial work, commercial, residential. But all you really need to know is this. When Frank and Becky and Earhart and their son James install a roof for you, first of all, they can do it within 2 days. And they're going to guarantee it for half a century. Half a century. For those who went to public schools, a century is 100 years, so you divide it by 2. Earhart Roofing, here's the number, 345-5555. 345-5555, Earhart Roofing. Give us a call, 569-1080, 569-1080. Frank, you're on.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Frank.
I unfortunately just got to tag into your conversation with Mr. Keithley, but a couple of comments you made.
Oh, you didn't hear the interview?
I didn't hear the whole interview, no.
Well, let me just for those who just joined us, we had Brad Keithley on here. Most people know he's the fellow who's injected $200,000 into the political process. He's asking people to support the 4 candidates he's chosen because he says they're more fiscal conservatives than others. In the middle of all this, there are people who are reporting that Mr. Keithley has mistreated several women, bullied them. Gabrielle Adu, one of the lawmakers that he's targeting, says that Mr. Keithley has bullied several women, and she called him a narcissistic thug. Mr. Keithley would not even acknowledge the existence of these women, never mind whether or not what they were saying is true. So that's kind of where we are. We just had him on the show. So, Frank, your thoughts?
Well, I've been watching Mr. Keithley for, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years. Started out mainly just because of trying to understand the motive for his specious commentary on the economics of the state. He started out, when it came to my attention, trying to cozy up to some of the more conservative members of the legislature, and his rhetoric then was, I need to find a conservative. The governor, you know, blah, 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 and he's so bad and he's not conservative enough. You know, somebody sufficiently conservative doesn't run against him, I may have to. Well, at that point, I happened to know that, and I happened to know that Keithley knew that he really wasn't eligible to run for governor. So
why not?
Well, he hadn't lived here long enough. You know, there's a requirement. There's a 7-year residency requirement.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And by this time, I had gotten some information about his personal life. Keithley had been spending time here before they fired him as the head of oil and gas for Perkins Coie. And he had been cohabitating with a very nice lady here in Anchorage. He does like to wine and dine women and spend, you know, lavishly on them. He had taken this woman on a trip. They met with her son. He wined and dined them both. A week or so. Came back, son writes letter thanking Keithley for this wonderful event in his mother's life and how great it was to see them together and enjoying each other so much. Sent it to the address on Keithley's card, which was Perkins Coie's headquarters. The letter went, marked personal, went to Keithley's real home, which was not in Alaska, and to his real wife, which was not Lady X from Anchorage, Alaska. That resulted in his 4th divorce. That divorce occurred in 2009. The jurisdiction, and I've not bothered to go and get the actual record, but the jurisdiction was not Alaska because his residence and his voting registration was in Texas. He didn't even register to vote here until 2010 after his 2009 divorce. He has no roots here. He has no property here. And as far as I can tell, his motive is simply to try to damage the current administration and or anybody that supports it. I heard his parting comment, which is typical of the way he likes to manipulate facts and numbers and statistics. He says, well, to balance the budget, oil would have to go to $180,000. $180 a barrel. So, yeah, well, that's true in one look. But the fact of the matter is, anybody that knows about investment, yes, oil either has to go that price or the volume in the pipeline has to go up. You can look at the change in tax structure, which shows every signs of being successful, as an investment to increase the volume of oil, to increase exploration. And there's every sign, exploration and production, which we didn't have before, and there's every sign that it's working. Keithley has totally ignored that in this vendetta. I don't know whether it's personal, or I don't know if he's on somebody's payroll. He hasn't worked for several years. Apparently had a bunch of money saved if he can afford to spend $200,000, if indeed he ultimately does that. He's targeted a number of people, ostensibly for personal reasons. He likes them. You know, there's no particular logic in who he's targeted, other than most of them are Republicans. The speculation now, he's building up the drama of his rhetoric that he will go after Mia Costello, whom he at one point courted, at least intellectually, on trying to pass himself off on this wonderful expert on oil and gas. I don't know anybody in the oil and gas industry that really knows much about him, nor do I know that he has any customers. What I do know, with the same thing that the previous caller did, there's some serious indictments online on this so-called Cheaterville site, where Mr. Keithley had, and I don't know, maybe you guys covered this, did you? That what was on there and what happened when he hired somebody to try to make it come off?
I heard about that. I didn't cover I didn't go into the specifics of the website, but I've read the comments, and I see Mr. Keithley on there going back and forth with these women who are accusing him of this bad behavior, which I found awfully strange that he would not even acknowledge their existence when he's on a public forum on this website arguing with them about their charges. So that
he's a flim-flam man. He's a con artist, and you know, in the big lie, sometimes you know you can bully and bluff your way through it. Nobody wants to expose these women publicly because they were damaged. You know, and your previous comment was entirely accurate. You know, with the Dispatch News, you know, trying to blame the governor for all the problems at the National Guard, and yet they're totally ignoring something that they know they have the facts on. You know, you had a cultural problem there with an entity, and they're willing to go to any lengths and rant and rave about how it's taking too long and nobody's doing enough. And here they've had knowledge for many years about the personal character habits of this man.
Well, to Amanda Coyne's credit, or amandacoyne.com, she reports, in her words, where these, based on the women I've talked to, these reports seem to be true. So she's gone on record.
Well, yeah, and Keithley actually hired what's called a reputation manager.
Really? I need to get me one of those. Where do you get those?
Well, these guys troll around on the internet and find adverse comments about you, and then
they'd be busy with me.
They start an arbitration process.
Oh, and then try to get rid of the comments.
And if you can't prove the comments, you better remove them, or you're dead. At that point, you become subject to legal action. So this happened with the blog on Keithley.
Yeah.
In point of fact, and the individual who had posted the original blog provided enough evidence that they said, yes, these charges are justified.
Wow.
These weren't the most egregious charges that apparently were available.
And yet he wouldn't even acknowledge these women existed when he sued to try to get rid of their comments.
He's minimizing women. That's what it is. And I can see if there was one, maybe even two women who were, like, scorned, but having more and more come out and actually say that they were wronged by him, it really gives some meat to the
Frank,
subject.
I got to move on here. I appreciate your call, though. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 569-1080, 569-1080. Deborah, you're on.
Hi.
Hi, Deborah.
My experience with Brad Keithley is, I guess I can say he was a mentor of mine at one time, and I took full responsibility for inviting him into my inner circle and with lawmakers, and basically the website, there's some credibility there. And I was harassed online by one of them, because this is just dragging up a lot of crap. And I was terrified every day.
Terrified of Brad?
No, of the women that were harassing me online.
They were harassing you because they were...
They were scorned by him.
Why were they harassing you?
Because I was collateral damage. Harming me harms him.
I see.
And so that went on for 2 years, and he did nothing.
You know what, Deborah? I got to take a break. Can you stay with us for another, for a second?
Yes.
All right, we'll take a quick break. 569-1080, 7:58 is the time. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie.
And more. Logistics LLC will design, plan, and create an event that provides impact and inspiration that will work within your budget. Team Logistics has the innovative ability to create seamless events that allow our clients to dream big and deliver an amazing event that is sure to wow you. Think logistics, whatever the reason, and watch them build an environment of magic and wonder for your special occasions. Get a quote and more information online at logisticsllc.com or give them a call at 276-6060.
KOAN 95.5 FM and 1080 AM. Listen online at 1080KOAN.com. Hot Talk 95.1 FM, 1080 AM. KOAN, Anchorage.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pam Puso. Confidence and caution from Pennsylvania's governor as police hunt a suspected cop killer in the Pocono Mountains. Fox News Radio's Tanya J. Powers has more live.
Governor Tom Corbett warns those living there.
Keep your doors locked, keep your cars locked.
And says the search for Eric Freen is in rugged, rocky terrain, but he's got faith.
We have hundreds, literally hundreds of men and women out there looking for this individual, and I believe that hopefully very soon, I'm not making any predictions, we'll be able to apprehend this individual.
Freen, a survivalist, has been in hiding since police say he killed one trooper and hurt another in a police barracks ambush 10 days ago, Pam.
Thanks, Tanya. We don't know where they are, but there's speculation as to why 3 Afghan army soldiers disappeared from a training exercise in Massachusetts. Governor Deval Patrick says military officials believe they may be trying to find a way to stay in the U.S.
Major Jan Arash, Captain Mohammed Azkarzada, and Captain Nurullah Aminyar arrived at Camp Edwards on September 11th and were last seen at the Cape Cod Mall in Hyannis.
Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland. The military doesn't believe the men pose a danger to the public. What could pose a danger? The latest threat from ISIS. Fox News Radio's Emily Wither live in our Middle East Bureau.
ISIS are calling on Muslims around the world to attack Americans, French, or anyone from any other country that's fighting back against them. In this 41-minute audio statement posted online, the group's spokesman, Abu Mohammed al-Adani, says they're ready to battle the US-led coalition that doesn't stand a chance of defeating them. He also calls on people to stop their sons from joining rebels that the US plans to train to fight them. Pam?
Thanks, Emily. Clashes with ISIS have left at least 40 Iraqi soldiers dead near the city of Fallujah. A senior Iraqi commander says 68 were captured. Fox News Radio, Baron Valley.
Attention homeowners, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and I have some important information for you regarding the U.S. government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. We've told you about HARP in the past, and more than 3 million homeowners have already taken advantage of this money-saving program. But there are so many more of you who could be saving hundreds of dollars every month on your mortgage. And Quicken Loans is here to help you save your money. The home loan experts at Quicken Loans fully understand the HARP guidelines. If you weren't HARP eligible in the past, new guidelines could mean that now you are. Give us a call and we'll give you a Quicken Loans mortgage review. It's simple and easy. And for 4 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Call 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN. Or go to QuickenLoans.com for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Competitive example excludes taxes and insurance costs for cost information, equalizing under license and autistic.
Just 10 miles north of the entrance to Denali Park is the town of Healy. It's got beautiful scenery, abundant wildlife, clean air, and Alaska's largest coal mine. Now you're probably wondering, can a coal mine operate in harmony with a national park? Ask the locals. They'll tell you it can, and it has for decades. Healy has been home to Usabelli Coal Mine since 1943, but you can hardly tell there's a coal mine nearby. That's because every summer, Usabelli employees roll up their sleeves and plant thousands of trees on lands that were once mined for coal. Within a few years, the land is restored to a natural state, ideal habitats for Alaskans of every species. Usabelli Coal Mine, restoring Alaska to the way we found it.
Trail Boss Solutions is your local award-winning, nationally recognized construction and remodel firm. From handyman services to kitchen design and remodel to custom home construction, Trail Boss Solutions has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion, on time and on budget. Trail Boss Solutions is the only call for all your construction, design, and remodel needs. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions at 646-1403.
Why is A&A the shop, Alaska's independent Subaru specialist? How is it they've been voted the best shop in Anchorage not once but 6 times? Well, it's pretty simple. They offer the best warranty in the business. If they work on your Subaru, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on both parts and labor. That's unheard of. A&A the shop deals exclusively with Subarus, and they also offer $35 oil changes. All their technicians are ASE certified. Call A&A the shop for an appointment. 562-3919 in Anchorage and 696-2096 in Eagle River.
When Malarkey Mark
Begich ran for U.S. Senator, he made a lot of claims about his record as Anchorage mayor. Begich knew the truth wouldn't come to light before the election. But now, history is caught up with Malarkey Mark. Under Begich, Anchorage taxes went up 27%. Under Begich, the city budget ballooned, a $142 million increase in spending. Under Begich, the city was saddled with unprecedented 5-year union contracts. Under Begich, a deficit of over $20 million was left for the next mayor to deal with. Begich left Anchorage in serious trouble. Alaska's Energy, America's Values paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. It's time to replace Malarkey Mark with U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee, energyandvalues.com.
Hot talk, KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and B.
Making the transition.
Sponsored by the Alaska National Guard, aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Fagan and Biegel, weekday morning.
Six minutes past 8 o'clock. 569-1080, 569-1080. You will never get a more defining and clear picture of my bald spot than you can now live on danfagan.us.
Your hair looks very nice, by the way, today.
Look at that bald spot.
Let's put one of those black lines over it, so we keep it anonymous.
That thing is huge. That's amazing. I don't really get to see the back of my head like that. I mean, how would I get to see the back of my head?
Go bald all the way, Dan. Just shave it off.
From the front, I don't look that bald. But now that I'm looking at it from behind, I mean, I am seriously bald. I had no idea.
Wow. Did you take it personally, by the way?
I want to put a smiley face back there.
Are you sure that HD was a good idea?
I know. I'm going to put a big smiley face on my bald spot.
My husband actually wants to go bald. He's got a full head of hair, but he shaves it all off. He wants to go bald, so feel lucky.
Well, they say bald men are more trustworthy, but they'll never be president.
Yeah, you have to have nice hair.
No president that's trustworthy will ever be.
569-1080. We're talking about Brad Keithley. This is not a pleasant subject for any of us. But we had him on the broadcast, and Amanda Coyne has reported that there are several women reporting that Mr. Keithley has bullied them. Gabrielle Ledoux, a target of Keithley's, one of the lawmakers on the Keithley hit list, has called Mr. Keithley someone who has a reputation of bullying women, and she called him a narcissistic thug. Glenn, you've spoken with a woman who told you stories of Mr. Keithley and behavior that is not something that is respectable or that anyone would condone. You've not come forward with specifics, and I understand that. We had Mr. Keithley on the broadcast earlier. He did not even acknowledge the existence of these women, although he has argued with them and against them on a website, Cheaterville. So that seems awfully strange to me.
Well, he went above and beyond arguing with them, it sounds like.
Well, according to Frank, he sued to have the comments removed and lost because the website was able to verify that the assertions were legitimate. So all we can talk about is that Mr. Keithley didn't even acknowledge this scandal or that these women existed, which is frankly unbelievable, not to be believed, because of course he knows these women exist. So we feel like that was an untruth. Now we have Deborah on the phone, and we weren't able to talk to Deborah before the break because we had to take a commercial break. You're back with us now, Deborah. What did you want to add to all this?
Well, there is some truth. There is truth to that website. And my only relationship with Brad Keithley was one of a mentee-mentor. I sought him out because I wanted to learn everything there was to learn about oil and gas. And so I sought out the best oil and gas lawyer in the state, and that was Brad Keithley. And when you live in Alaska and you reach out to people to mentor you, they just take you under your arm. And so I would meet with him frequently, just, learning as much as I could. And he was good to me, just in terms of the mentee-mentor relationship. It was his personal life that kind of really terrified my life for 2 years. And so shortly after, this is kind of drudging up all this crap with him, but when I was, shortly after he started mentoring me, I started getting harassed by one of the women that is on this website online, and it was relentless.
When you say harassed, are you meaning was she trying to warn you, or she was trying to?
There's one woman in Anchorage that did try to warn me, and I was just, very defensive about him. He's just a mentor. He's one of the best oil and gas lawyers. I'm very naive. And so that was my perspective in regards to that. And then his personal life started impacting my life, and I'd never asked him about his personal life.
How did it impact your life?
Because I was being harassed by one of these women online.
Mm-hmm.
Horribly. And I have nothing to do with his personal life. And the thing that was so upsetting to me is that he stood by and did nothing about it.
Mm.
I couldn't pick up my iPhone. It was awful. It was horrible. I was terrified every day.
So he let you kind of handle these women that were trying to warn you and / harassing you, correct?
Yeah, and it was kind of like, oh, just don't pay attention to it.
Well, Deborah, what was it that these women were warning you about?
They'd been hurt by him.
Physically, emotionally?
They didn't get into the specifics. I know one of the histories of one of them, and her, his personal life was very complicated, and I was being told stories, and I don't run with stories.
Sure.
When scorned women are scorned women. But then but when it started happening, when I'm getting harassed and it's in my life every day, it becomes a problem for me. And so where I was hurt was being harassed by one of these women relentlessly because of him, and then he stood by and did nothing.
Did he try to discredit their stories to you?
No. He said that they were lying, and that was about it.
Mm.
What did you want him to do? What would have been best in your eyes? What did you ask him to do?
Well, I wanted him to be a lawyer and to make it stop.
Hmm.
And you thought he had that power.
And all the money in the world.
Yeah. And he did, in your mind, he probably does have that power. Leave her out of it. If you've got a problem with me, you talk to me. Don't talk to her. Well, but he didn't do that for you.
He did for a while, but then it just became, oh, Deborah, just ignore it, let it go, and it went on for a couple of years.
Well, Deborah, I appreciate your call.
Okay.
Thank you. 569-1080. Here's an email. Listen to your show on Friday, Dan. One question I have that hasn't been asked. Representative Ledoux said she has not known about Keithley's alleged behaviors she has known about Keithley's alleged behaviors for months, yet she still filled out his questionnaire. Why would she seek his approval and support? If she thinks his character is so wrong, what does her seeking his endorsement say about her?
Good point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that most people in politics kind of run scared. You just take whatever friends come your way. It's just kind of an awful game, to put this much power and this much influence in government. I just think it's such a bad idea.
Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie, 569-1080, KOAN, KVNT. Time currently, 8:14. KOAN, KVNT. Time currently, 8:14.
Fagan and Beagle on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size, for just 20 cents. Now that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, any size, and get a second pizza for only 20 cents. Order online at SicilysPizza.com. Offer valid for pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
Is it already time for your kindergartner to start learning reading, writing, and arithmetic? Would you like them to also learn science, history, and geography? Let's mix in the fun of music, art, and learning through play. Anchor Lutheran School offers this and much more in a class of no more than 22 students. Kindergarten through junior high enrolling now. Anchor Lutheran School on Arctic Boulevard, just north of Diamond. Visit alsalaska.org or call 522-3636 to learn more.
Being a business owner isn't easy. There's managing people, customers, income, expenses, unexpected issues, growing your brand, and so much more. Ready to be more efficient in everything you do? Then listen to Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Each week, David gives you the inside scoop on the latest business news and trends, along with tools for keeping your business on track. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
You're on with Fagan and Beagle on Hot Talk KOAN and Fagan Beagle. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley.
8:17. Bonnie just said, why aren't men ever scorned? Glenn, you're a man.
We get even. We don't. You know.
You don't mess around.
No. No. I don't know.
You don't think about it long enough?
That's the point in it.
Well, being an expert on all things women, I'd like to handle that question.
I'm taking notes here.
Please do. Let me talk slower.
Write a book about Dan's experience.
You don't want to miss any of this. When a woman gives you her heart, there's nothing like it on earth. When a woman dives in with reckless abandon, it's something a man can't even begin to conceive. We're just different. We're built different. And that's why our culture is such a mess today. Because men don't understand what an incredibly powerful thing it is when a woman gives you her heart.
Well, that's partly women's fault. Because we've made women...
Oh, you make it sound bad. That is the way we were built. That's the way we were designed.
Women have tried to put themselves equally with men. And so men think, well, they think the way I do. So they're not going to hurt as much as I am.
I don't like the word equally there. I think the word same. When women try to think of themselves as the same as men.
No differences.
Yeah, you guys are just small, crass, crude, little sex-loving, monsters like men are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, Dennis Prager writes about this so eloquently. And he says this is why, women don't go to strip clubs. It's not about the physical.
Mm-hmm.
It's the heart. And when they give you your heart and you betray that and you crush it and you trample it like they're a conquest, they're devastated. And there are a lot of women today who are in their 30s and 40s who are absolutely wrecked emotionally. And they're bitter and they're not in successful relationships now. And they may never be because they've been hurt so bad. And it's just devastating. And men, if men knew, here's a beautiful thing. I heard a guy talking the other day. He was talking to I think it was it wasn't high school, it was like college age kids, but it was like a Christian school or something. So it's a ministry school where kids were.
Where people could actually learn something that's deep and meaningful.
Well, they're teaching about the Bible, basically. And he's scolding the young men in there. He's saying, do not think that when you take a girl to coffee, it's just coffee.
Right.
Or lunch, or even dinner. And he was trying to explain what it meant for the girl, for you to single them out and to focus on them and to listen to them. He said, and this is, you guys might not agree with it, but I think he's dead on. It's really the equivalent for the man if the girl would go there at the coffee table and talk to him with her shirt off.
That's the same thing.
It's the same, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that guy's going to be, you do that. If a girl would go have lunch with you or have coffee with you and take her shirt off, you would be affected by that incredibly as a man.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how the woman's affected by you just sitting there listening to her. Isn't that powerful?
And wanting to be a part, wanting to be with.
This guy's paying attention to me. This guy cares about me.
He's making a move.
He's making a move. That would be the same thing as her sitting there with her shirt off.
That would be her move.
That would be her move. And so what he was trying to tell the men there is that understand what you do when you lead women on. Understand what you do when you give them hope, especially if your intent is not their heart but their body.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's
great advice.
It is, and that's where our culture, that's where men are. And what happens? What does the culture teach men? Well, Hollywood teaches them that, I don't know that I've ever seen an action movie where the man didn't sleep with a woman he just met. I don't know that I've ever seen a romantic comedy where the guy doesn't sleep with a woman after meeting her 24 hours prior. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the culture.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you fall in love.
Yep.
And they always end up happily ever after. Right?
Yeah. What gets me is the comedies like on TV where the wife is, skinny and pretty and funny, and then the husband is not.
a dumpy loser who doesn't have any wisdom at all.
Right. Like that's, I don't know. It just goes to show what's really important, I guess, to people.
Yeah.
It's not as important to women, I guess.
So it's a problem in our culture, and then of course you have the young teenage girls who have no men in their lives. There's no Glen Biegel around to show the family what a man is.
Yep.
And so they just go out, and any guy who just winks at them, oh yeah, okay, I'll take my clothes off. He winked at me. Doesn't that deserve him? Doesn't he deserve my body now? He winked at me.
Yeah, that really gets to the root of everything wrong with our society right now.
It really is.
Yes.
Yeah, well, girls are extremely valuable. They have an enormous amount to offer, and men make the mistake, and I think this is what you were getting to, Bonnie, is here you have this sort of partnership for disaster that's forming. Men, all they really, many times want, if they don't have a good upbringing, all they'll want is just a brief relationship. They want the conquest, they want the excitement of the initial part of the relationship, maintaining a relationship, trying to take care of a family, all that kind of stuff. That's just not all that valuable. And women will play into that. Oh, well, we're just like you, so yeah, we'll just do whatever, and whatever you want to do, that's what we'll do. And it's a total disaster. But it's brought on by both sexes.
I had a friend of mine, I'm just so old, but this was about 7 years ago. And he works in the radio business, and we were playing golf. He's a manager. You know who I'm talking about, Brian. He's a manager at one of the teeny bopper stations where they play hit music.
Huh?
And so we're playing golf, and so we're in my car. We're coming in from Palmer, and I was going to drop him off at his house. He said, hey, we got to stop by Rum Runners because I gotta give my DJ a check or something because he was running the thing or something. And he's in my age, and we're both in our 40s at this point. And we walk into Rum Runners, I felt like a pervert just stepping foot into the place, right?
It's a madhouse, oh yeah.
Well, there wasn't a girl in there over 23.
Yeah.
And they all, you could wash their dress in a blender.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It was so sad.
Mm.
And, their breasts are hanging out all over the place, and it was just so sad to me. Well, first I felt dirty being in there. What's that old dude doing in here? We were there like 10 minutes, but I couldn't wait to get out of there. But I just felt so bad for these girls. It was a meat factory.
Mm-hmm.
It's how cheap can I look? How easy can I make myself appear? Or that some guy will notice me. They had no clue who they were.
It's all the wrong type of attention.
They had no idea how valuable they were to this planet, to our culture, to their potential husband. They didn't know for a second who they were. So sad.
Yeah. And it takes a long time to get there, by the way. A lot of bad information, very little leadership, you know. And so it goes back to why a man and a wife are so important. People say, oh, no, it doesn't make any difference, but two men, two women together, you know, you just have one person leading the family. No. This is defending our society and trying to figure out how do we survive. It's just survival. Our society will not survive unless we have strong families, because the weaker family you have, you need bigger government, and then people get bad messages like this all the time. It is sad.
569-1080, 569-1080. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff, you're on.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment. This might sound surprising, but everyone's not a victim, and there's plenty of people, men and women, who, you know, willingly enter into a scenario where they want to have a casual relationship. It's really not a big deal.
You think women want it as much as men?
I've met women that have been perfectly upfront about what they want and what I want, and you know.
And you don't think they'd ever like to be married, or?
Maybe they would someday. Sure, who knows? Maybe people change their minds.
You think they're looking for a man to marry whenever they have sex with them, or?
Not always, no.
Do you think that those women are displaying a lack of understanding of how valuable they really are by just giving away their body so easily?
Well, maybe they don't. Maybe they don't see it that way, Dan. Maybe they see it differently.
I know, but asking you.
No, I don't. I mean, there's like this. The Economist just wrote an article a few issues ago about prostitution and how technology is changing it. And
so if you had a 18-year-old daughter and she said, "Daddy, I want to go sleep around and dress like, you know, like I'm cheap and that I'm easy," would you recommend that she not, or would you say go ahead and live your life as you want?
Well, I'd raise my kid in a way that, I mean, they make their own decisions, but I mean, I hope that
so you would discourage her from going out and trying to get a guy in bed before he really gives her heart?
If that's what she wants, well, I mean, what am I going to do? How am I going to stop
Would
it?
you discourage her?
Sure.
Well then, but you just, because you're flipping positions here.
No, at some point people become an adult.
No, I understand that, but do you think it is a good thing for a woman, 18, 19, 20 years old, 21, 22, to go out and try to sleep around with guys?
I think that's not my decision.
I know, I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you if that's a good idea for a woman to do that.
It may or may not be a good idea for the individual. I don't know. It's not me.
So you don't. But you just told me that you would discourage your daughter from doing it, but yet you don't want to apply that same standard to all the other women. Well, that doesn't make sense to me.
Actually, I would raise my kid in a way that, you know, they make their own decisions.
So you would not discourage your 22-year-old daughter from going around sleeping around?
What do you mean? What do you? I don't know what you're asking.
If she would say, "Dad, I'm going to go sleep around. I'm going to be loose and promiscuous. I'm going to try a bunch of guys before I get married," you wouldn't say.
Well, I find it hard to believe, you know, a daughter would say that.
But if she would you discourage her?
I'd say, well, if that's what you're going to do, you know, use protection, be safe, be safe about it.
So you would say that's a good idea to go ahead and try as many men as you want?
I might ask her why she wanted to do that. I'd be, you know, curious what was.
Would you discourage her from doing that?
When she was 18?
Yeah.
I can guarantee you, no matter how much protection you use, her heart's not going to be protected.
Well, you guys, I don't know, you just have this victim mentality. Some people, everybody's not a victim.
Well, take responsibility for the heart you're breaking. I mean, really, you can't think that women are going to be doing that when not wanting commitment out of you.
What if both people enter the relationship with the?
So you would not discourage your 18-year-old daughter from being promiscuous?
Yeah, I would tell my daughter to do what she thought was the best for her. Okay.
And if she said, "Daddy, what do you think's the best?" What would you say?
I'd say, for her, I'd say, I don't know. Figure it out. You're 18. How do you? I mean, when I was 18,
ladies and gentlemen, cut him off. That is so sickening to me. That is a kick in the gut to me.
Taking advantage of
to
women's
hear
hearts.
A man take that position on women. That is sickening to me. It is absolutely despicable. I don't want to ever take Jeff's call again. That's sick. Jeff's call again. That's sick.
Don't just sit there. Give him a call. 569.
3. Tomorrow night, low 34. Wednesday, partial sunshine, high 51. Plenty of sun on Thursday, high 52. And Friday, high 52. Hot talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Chris here along with my buddy Brock. That's right. We're here to tell you to tune into The Beer Show every Saturday at 5 p.m. on 95.5 and 1080 KOAN. The Beer Show is brought to you by Alaska Eagle River Ale House, great artisan beverages, and the Odom Corporation. Please drink responsibly. Blue Legacy.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Studies show that a certain spice may be the key to lowering glucose levels for diabetics. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent. We talk a lot about big blockbuster drugs to solve big blockbuster health issues. But a recent review of studies found that cinnamon could help control blood sugar. Now, this doesn't mean you should hop in your car and drive to the mall and buy yourself a cinnamon bun. Instead, new research shows that type 2 diabetics who took cinnamon supplements in a pill form saw some heart health benefits. One theory why is that cinnamon seems to increase insulin action. It also reduces total cholesterol, LDL, remember L is for lousy cholesterol, and triglyceride levels. And it also increased HDL, or the good cholesterol levels. Of course, if you do have diabetes, remember that treatment is a lifelong commitment. So talk to your doctor to discuss what the best treatment plan is for you. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Your local Health Mart pharmacy salutes caregivers everywhere. The ones who aid an aging parent or nurture a sick child. The fact is, we are all caregivers at different times. And your local Health Mart pharmacist is ready to go above and beyond to support you, with encouragement and expert guidance in good times and bad. Visit healthmart.com for the location near you. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Get the Wave Ventilation Unit. It will transform your home into a drier, healthier environment. Satisfaction guaranteed. Call 1-888-964-WAVE. That's 1-888-964-WAVE.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Keithley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Keithley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist with Dr. Keithley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Keithley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Keithley at LakeOtisDental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080.
0821.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVN.
8:35 in the morning. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. Our good friend Dr. Myron Schweigert out at Chugach Chiropractic team out there. They're very good at helping you live a pain-free life. Dr. Madden, another guy out there, just really good at helping you live a healthy life as far as keeping your weight down, eating right. Glenn lost 45 pounds out there, and they've helped so many people at Chugach Chiropractic. Give them a call, 694-9224, 694-9224. The thing about the team out there at Chugach Chiropractic, they rely on natural solutions. A lot of times you go see a doctor, he wants to put you under the knife. So many things you can try before that at Chugach Chiropractic. Again, 694-9224, 694-9224. Our number 569-1080, 569-1080. State Representative Les Guerra here in the studio with us. Just as a disclaimer, in light of what happened on Channel 11, Representative Guerra, we would ask you from refraining of using the F word at any time during the broadcast. we certainly we respect your freedom of speech rights, but if you don't mind.
I will, as I have for a long time, refrain from using the I quit F word.
What do you make of that? And for those who don't know, most do, it's all over Facebook. The reporter at Channel 11, what was her name? Charla Green? Charla, is that it? Charlo Green. She was the started an organization called what is it, Bonnie?
Alaska Cannabis Club.
Alaska Cannabis Club. She was doing a story on the marijuana initiative last night. Toward the end of her story, she says something to the effect of, "I'm advocating for this initiative. Not that I had any choice. I quit my job," and then she said, "F it, I quit."
Right.
And then she walked off the set.
Yeah, so Facebook is filled with comments, either, people thinking it's funny, people thinking she was out of line, and some people saying, "I wish I could do that at work."
Yeah,
so
everybody's dream.
So, yeah, there are a few everybody's dream comments on Facebook.
But here's what I think is really at the heart of this story.
Dan, I gotta say, it's nice to have you back.
Thank you,
yeah.
I appreciate that.
I always say this, and you don't remember, but my first year in the legislature, you and some other reporters were at the worst pizza place,
Yes.
Bullwinkle's.
Right.
I'm not allowed to advocate for a company as a legislator, but I can say that I don't like their pizza. I think I'm allowed.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do like it, though.
No,
a lot of people love the
soggy.
place. Okay.
I'm gonna go there when I get down there.
You and some reporters were down there, and you were voting on the back of a paper plate, the freshman legislator of the year.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And and as much of a hard time as you give me,
yeah,
I got your vote.
Did I?
And I won by one vote.
Yeah.
And you were the deciding vote, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Well, I was telling them earlier when I covered the legislator, guys like you and Harry Crawford, and even Johnny Ellis. Johnny Ellis, I had a great relationship. You guys just seem more open to talk to the reporters. The Republicans always looked at us as the enemy, and they wouldn't have any relationships with us. John Harris being one of the exceptions.
Because they were doing stuff like trying to raid the permanent fund dividend, and we were saying no, and that was not popular with the public, I agree with Jay Hammond, which is, if you have a fiscal problem, you touch the dividend last, not first.
But don't you think most Republicans are more cynical of the press than Democrats?
I don't know. I don't want to say that about Republicans. I can say that I will go to the press because if you want to get an issue solved in Juneau, and the Republican Party is in the majority and they're trying to block it, you need to go to the public to get the public to pressure them so they can get the thing, so we can get the thing passed.
I want to get back to this report on Channel 11. Here's the question I have for the news director of Channel 11. You have someone on your set who has started an organization advocating for the legalization of marijuana, doing a report.
Right.
When you go to her Facebook page, I went to it this morning, there's all kinds of pictures of her.
They probably didn't know in their defense.
Well, hear me out. She's smoking pot on her Facebook page. There's 3 or 4 pictures of her hitting a reefer.
Okay, well, I gotta say, I'm not a pot smoker myself, but it is legal.
I know, but can you have a reporter? Oh, I agree. You do what you want, but do you have a reporter on your set doing a story on marijuana when you just started an organization about legalizing marijuana?
No, that seems odd. But they probably, in their defense, they probably didn't know, right?
They have to answer the question though. When did they know?
Who knows? You got to speak to
them.
But
they have to answer that question.
But I got to give all employers the benefit of the doubt, which is they can't monitor every employee, right? I mean, they shouldn't, right? They shouldn't be peering into a private life. So yeah, she did something. She had it private. She decided to quit.
The other big issue.
There's more important stuff out there.
The other big issue of the day is this Brad Keithley saga.
Yeah.
And it is a true saga. Everybody knows about it. Just real quickly, Brad Keithley's an oil and gas attorney. Apparently, he's not an oil and gas attorney now. He's a consultant.
He gets money from oil and gas companies. He doesn't say for why. We don't know whether the money he gets from oil and gas companies are because he actually does work for them, or are they giving him money to funnel into campaigns?
And we don't even know that he is getting the money. He's claiming he's getting the money.
He claims he has money from. He claims he's an oil and gas consultant.
Right.
He came up here a few years ago and got right involved in Alaska politics, started dumping money into it, tried to get rid of the Democrats and the bipartisan coalition they had. That was his first goal of the last election. And he's just an odd guy, and he portrays himself as just this sort of interested guy. I have no idea whether he's been sent up here by oil companies to funnel money into campaigns. I have no idea whether he's real. I have no idea.
But why would he oppose a Lance Pruitt if he was a shill of the oil companies?
Well, now here's his deal. His deal is, and I know you don't agree with me, but his deal on ballot measure 1 on the oil tax thing in August was he wanted to keep the low tax.
Yeah.
And he was on the oil company side on that thing.
Right.
And that's why he tried to bust the bipartisan coalition 2 years ago, which he and others in the oil companies succeeded at. If he keeps the budget down low enough, and we keep cutting schools and keep doing things that, there's waste in the budget, no doubt, but he wants a massively damaged budget where you can't afford anything. And I think he wants that so there's no pressure on his oil and gas company friends to have to pay a fair share in oil taxes, right? It's called starving the beast, right? If you don't put any money into public services, roads, maintenance, energy projects, if you don't have any budget to do that, then you don't have any need to tax his friends in the oil industry, and then you don't have to worry about pesky things like ballot measure 1 in August.
Certainly you're not saying that here in the state of Alaska we're not spending enough on state government.
We spend too much on some things, right? I think I'll get flack for this. When the governor has a $1.9 billion deficit, Governor Parnell, $3 billion of deficits 2 years in a row, and he says, look, let's also give away money that we should be getting from our oil and keep that deficit huge. Well, if that's your policy, that you're going to put us in a deficit, if you're going to put us in deficit spending, then do you really have $2 billion for a Kinnick Bridge?
We're collecting as much under SB 21 than we would under ACES.
That's fake. Those numbers come from the Parnell administration. When they were before the legislature in April, when that bill passed, they said at $110 a barrel, which oil has been for most of the year, they would still lose money under SB 21. But suddenly after that,
$96 a barrel now. They say they got more money. Is that true or not true?
We don't know because
whoa! Is it true or not true?
We don't.
You don't know specifically, because I've been told specifically that we get more money at $96 a barrel than we do under Senate Bill 21. And you don't know one way or the other, or you're saying that
I'm
frankly here that we have a lower tax. That's a quote from you from before.
We know that $110 a barrel. They told us that we would make less money under SB 21.
So you're saying they're lying?
They said the break-even point when they testified on that bill was about $90 a barrel. All of a sudden, when this ballot measure 1 came, all of the numbers changed, and all of a sudden they said, "Oh, we're making a lot more money under SB 21." I think
so. They're lying.
I don't know. Because
they'd have to be lying if you're right.
It all depends on what the costs of oil are on the North Slope, which they and the oil companies possess, and we don't have any independent verification of those numbers.
State Representative Les Guerra is here. He's going fishing later today. Fortunately for him, he's got a wife that'll go with him. 8:44 is the time. Stay with us.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 91080 KOAN.
Hi, this is Jonathan Martin with Harrington & Company. I am looking for a qualified buyer with a 90% letter from his lender. I have a 3-bedroom, bath and a half, single-car garage with carport on a large single-family lot in East Anchorage. It is priced in the mid-200,000s. It needs only a little bit of TLC. Please call me, Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company, 244-0821. That's Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company, 244-0821.
Mark begged Barack Obama 97% of the time. Now, to distract you from the truth, Begich is falsely attacking Dan Sullivan with ads fact-checkers have called inflammatory and inaccurate. Shamefully, Begich has even resorted to attacking Dan Sullivan's service to our country. Mark Begich isn't true Alaska. He's pure Washington.
I'm Julie Fate Sullivan. After 9/11, my family left our home in Alaska so my husband, Dan Sullivan, could defend our country in the White House under Condoleezza Rice, then deploying overseas as a U.S. Marine. Now Mark Begich is attacking Dan for that service. As somebody whose family has been in Alaska for thousands of years, I have a message from Mark Begich. Alaskans respect military service. We don't attack it.
I'm Dan Sullivan. I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
This is Olympic cross-country skier Holly Brooks. Are you an adult who wants to help today's girls become tomorrow's leaders? Girl Scouts of Alaska is looking for volunteers. Lead a Girl Scout troop, coach a Lego robotics team, or present at a workshop. Parents, grandparents, college students, and retirees can all be Girl Scout volunteers. All you need is a willingness to help make tomorrow's leaders from today's girls. Girls like me, because I was a Girl Scout. Visit www.girlscoutsalaska.org or call 248-2250.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080.
This message.
Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
Fagan and Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley. KVNT.
All right, welcome back. 8:47. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, and Bonnie Cameron. I can tell Glenn is just chopping at the bit to light India.
Yeah, yeah.
So before I release the hounds, I want to tell you what I told you off the air. I really regret the fact that I have not been a fisherman. My grandfather was one. I never got into it because my dad didn't. And I know you love it.
Yeah.
What am I missing out on?
I think, when I drove to Alaska with my wife, I was looking at these mountains. I grew up on the East Coast. We didn't have big mountains, and I started seeing these huge mountains. And I said, as somebody who grew up in New York, you got to always do something. You got to be busy. And I'd look at those mountains. I'd say, what do people do in there? I can't just walk through the mountains. That doesn't seem like. No. Though actually, I do a lot of hiking now. But back then, I was like, I got to find something to do. And I said, well, I used to fish when I was a kid. I'm going to start fishing. So I get to Alaska. I go straight to a garage sale.
You started here.
I started. Well, I fished as a kid, but I didn't fish when I was in college or high school or anything like that. Right. And I went to a garage sale, got a spin fishing kit for and it didn't. The drag didn't work. It didn't let out any line.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, this is good. This is a strong reel. This is a really strong reel, right? I didn't. So I'd go. I was up in Fairbanks. Every time I hooked a silver salmon, the thing would run and my line would snap. And I was like, wow. I mean, my reel's working because it's not letting out any line. That's good. Right. I must need stronger lines. So every week I'd go back, I get 30 pound, 40 pound until I got this line that was like rope. And I finally landed my first silver that first year. It was red. It had a green head. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And it was like this perfect confluence of I was late enough at the season that the silver was close enough to dying, and I had a heavy enough line with this reel that wasn't letting out any line that I finally landed one. And then I just got hooked on fishing after that. But that first year wasn't pretty.
How many times a year you fish?
I trench a lot. This year I've gone out maybe 10 times. But if I can get out, before I was the legislator, I kept a journal. I used to go out like 60 times a year.
Wow.
And I've got a wife she comes with me. We'll go float tripping, we'll do stuff, and sometimes she says just get out of the house. And I think that's good.
And you got a canoe you use usually?
Raft or a canoe. If it's just Kelly and I, if it's two of us, we got an inflatable canoe. If it's more than two of us, we got a raft.
You ready for Glenn?
Ready.
Can you handle it?
Yeah, I can handle Glenn. And
by the way, is Dan one of the leaders on the Democrat side? I'm always interested to
why do some people say Democrat? Some people say Democratic. There's always a flap about that. I don't really care.
Oh, you don't care which
I don't
one?
care. I don't care.
Well, yeah, it's a Democratic Party, and you are a Democrat.
I'm a Democrat who votes on things. I vote on for a lot of Republican bills. I vote against Republican bills. Vote on the merits. I try and work across party lines and there. But yeah, I'm happy to say I'm a Democrat.
I imagine you are going to vote yes on the minimum wage. What's the right level for the minimum wage, and what are people trying to accomplish by raising it?
Well, in my first year in the legislature, there was an initiative to inflation-proof the minimum wage. It goes up with inflation every year, and they moved it to $7.15 an hour back in 2003.
What is it now?
And what happened was the first year, I hate to say it, but the Chamber of Commerce, the Republicans, Bill Allen came in, and they said, we want you to gut the annual inflation-proofing provision. If they didn't gut that, the minimum wage today would be about $10 an hour. But they immediately came in and they gutted it almost on party lines. I thought that was, I thought the public wanted inflation proofing. you don't overrule what the public said they wanted, and it makes sense. I mean, the minimum wage should go up.
You
with
think this will
inflation.
cost any jobs out in fishing villages where they're right on the edge right now for whether or not they're profitable, whether or not they farm more salmon other places?
You know, the studies are that small increases in the minimum wage don't affect employment.
But we're not talking about small. We're talking about $1 an hour, then another $1 an hour, and then we're going to go $1 more than federal minimum wage, which looks like it may be $10.10 an hour. So it'd be $11.10 an hour.
Look, it should go up with inflation. If we didn't, if we gradually raise the minimum wage the way the voters said in 2003, and the Republicans didn't gut it, it would have gone up 30 cents a year every year, and it would be about $10 an hour today. That would have been gradual. That wouldn't have touched a single job.
Would you support what they did in Seattle, going to 15 an hour?
I think if you go from 7 to 15 right away, you would cost jobs. But at some point, you do have to have a living minimum wage. I mean, if people are willing to work for a living and put in the work, I think they should have a living minimum wage.
So you think a 16-year-old should be getting almost $10 an hour?
You know, that's a really interesting question, right? I mean, can you have a minimum wage that's different based on your age, right? And I understand that point, but it gets very messy, right? If you start having different wages for different people, then all of a sudden the people with the lower wages are the ones that people are going to hire. And so it's a thorny issue. I got to admit that. That's thorny.
When I was reporting for Channel 2, and Governor Knowles was governor, and Dave Ramsey was his press guy, I asked Dave, I said, Dave, would you get me someone who's the head of a household that makes a minimum wage? And he couldn't get me one.
I have them in my district when I knock on doors, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
are these people who are retired? I mean, you're downtown. The people who live in your district live in the most expensive housing in town.
Yeah, you don't know my district, Glenn. It's also Fairview, which is a neighborhood that I believe is up and coming.
And you think those people work for minimum wage, literally? Even McDonald's doesn't pay minimum wage.
I represent all of Government Hill. I represent part of Airport Heights and Eastridge, and I knock on doors where people make the minimum wage. I'm sorry, Glenn, but there are people out there like that.
And they're head of households.
I haven't asked them how many people are in their family. I mean, there are people I knock on doors who make the minimum wage.
Well, if your premise is true, that
2 to 3% of people make the minimum wage.
But here's I mean, in my view, and you'll disagree with me. If you raise the minimum wage, then other wages that are close to the minimum wage, somebody making $9, $10 an hour, those wages are going to go up too by maybe $1 an hour. I think that's good.
Is this why the unions are so strong on this? I mean, what's their deal?
I don't know.
What's going on?
I can say
they don't get paid the minimum wage.
I can say I support unions. I think people have a right if they vote to organize a union to get a union. But
do people have a right not to participate in a union if they don't like participating in a union?
I think if there's a vote for a union, there should be a
majority
union.
Rules.
Like democracy, that's how it works.
We don't live in a democracy. We live in a republic.
We should live in a democracy.
That's very interesting. All right, now you made a whole bunch of statements.
You said we don't live in a democracy?
No, we live in a republic.
We live in a democracy. All right, let's not argue
about
this.
We live in a democracy within a republic.
Whatever. Okay, good. You guys argue about that.
I'd like to throw in constitutional republic.
Yeah, there you go. A limited constitutional republic is what it is.
You supporting Walker, by the way?
I like Bill Walker.
You support him?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
I've known him for a long time. I don't agree with him on a lot of issues. But he's the kind of guy.
What about his war on women?
It's not a war on women. He's got.
Oh, now it's not. But if he was running as a Republican, it would be.
What he said, I think actually is reasonable, which is we have more important issues than to fight about abortion every single year.
Oh my goodness, that is.
He backed off on that.
No, he didn't. He said he's not going to push. He's not going to push abortion legislation. We've got a budget deficit. We've got no gas line when we should have a gas line. We got a plan to talk about a gas line that passed last year.
All companies have spent $430 million advancing the line. How can you say we got no gas line?
$430 million advancing a line that they haven't committed to?
But they've spent $430 million in the process. That's pretty serious to me.
Yeah, sure. And then they spent that kind of money under AGIA too, and people have been spending money and saying they've been studying it forever. And at some point, I think
So you think they spent $430 million for PR purposes?
They spent it under AGIA. We didn't get a gas line, right? Not PR purposes. I guess they're looking at it, But
are you glad the state didn't take control under AGIA and try and run us a line across Canada?
When AGIA passed, the math was from every consultant that the line to the lower 48 made sense.
Are you glad that didn't happen?
Well, it couldn't. Now, in retrospect, yeah, because...
How much money do you think the state would have blown had we tried to force that line?
Well, it wouldn't have happened because then all of a sudden they figured out how to get gas out of shale. And when they got gas out of shale, the price of gas just dumped.
Everything changed.
And that made the gas line to the lower 48 impossible. But it wasn't a gas line in Canada. It was a gas line essentially
Did you wipe your brow
48.
and say, thank goodness we didn't take control over this process? As the state of Alaska enforce something that
In
the market
retrospect,
didn't
yeah,
want?
but there's no oil company, there's no consultant, there's nobody who said, hey, guess what, we're going to develop shale technology. That was something
Nobody
that
saw
happened.
that coming.
Nobody saw it coming.
Well, actually, we've had shale technology here for 40 years,
Glenn, the
and
oil
there was
companies
no
didn't know
reason
about it.
after oil went above $75 a barrel that they wouldn't employ a shale technology down south. We all knew they were going to employ shale technology.
oil
We just didn't know
companies-
how much gas they were going to get. The oil,
Glenn,
though,
don't-
was going to get
Don't
developed.
make up history. When Agea passed, gas was over $7 an MCF.
The oil
It
companies
made-
did not see the
It
shale
made the
development
gas line. It made the gas line economic. Then by 2007, 2008, whatever, around then, all of a sudden people started developing the shale technology.
Yeah,
Nobody
and
knew
even
about it.
then, when I talked to the oil company executives, they said, we don't know how this is going to play out. So you can't really blame anybody for that.
Yeah,
Everybody didn't see that coming.
On gas. I was just talking about oil. Oil and shale development, they've always expected, they knew what the break-even point for oil shale development was, since we had developed the technology here 40 years ago.
All right,
And they knew
Glenn,
that it was going to go down.
But nobody saw the
but
boom.
about gas. All I was asking is whether or not you felt a sigh of relief that the state of Alaska hadn't tried to strong-arm and force a gas line across Canada, which you admit now would have been a huge mistake.
And I admit it, and everybody else admits it. No one was on the
Well,
other
that's a
side
big
of that.
deal.
Glenn,
Well,
Glenn,
we're
look,
getting
here's
ready
the,
to try and force
here's
something
what,
now
here's
again.
what, here's
Get
what
your
would have
question. This is a
Here's
total
what would
waste.
have happened, Glenn. I mean, you're talking about old history, but by 2008, when everybody saw the price of gas and how it dropped, nobody would have built a gas line down there, even under Agea, even though it passed.
Luckily, we had.
Well, then nobody would have built the gas line.
I'm still stuck on you saying that there's more important issues than abortion.
All right, we're out of time.
Sorry.
I think
We're out of time.
there's more important issues than fighting about an issue that
No,
50%
then
of
murder.
Alaskans
You're right.
are always going to disagree about. I mean,
And more
let's just stop
Public
fighting
funding,
about
we
it.
don't 50% don't disagree
Yeah.
on. Public funding is
There's more
pretty
important
universal.
issues than babies being killed.
Next time you'll get one questioner at a time. I promise.
You know what? I'm pro-choice. You're pro-life. I totally respect your views. I totally understand them. And
I don't
we're-
respect your views.
That's great. There's no way that we're going to change each other's mind or the public's going to change each other's minds on that issue. So I would say stop fighting about it.
Les Garrett, thanks for coming by. Have a good day fishing.
All right, thanks.
All right, that's it, folks. We'll be back tomorrow. 8:58 is the time. Have a good day. Folks, we'll be back tomorrow. 8:58 is the time. Have a good day.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in to Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Be sure to catch them every weekday morning from 6 to 9 a.m. on Hot Talk KOAN 95.1 FM, 1080 a.m. and online at 1080KOAN.com.